I know you.
You got a name tag. You're in my world. I don't know that, dude.
Modern day.
Basketball. We do have the first CFP semifinal tonight. All sorts of good stuff happening in the world. Portal Madness continuing to roar on for pitch. We'll talk about the latest additions to the 26 game text line 502-414-1450. We say hi to our guy Roman Kelly. You just heard him on Running with Roman. You'll hear him again on the Ticket Punchers tonight. 5:36. Tommy Bean. Now,
Excited to be in here, excited to chat with you. Not excited that we're putting the jersey on stream.
Is it on the stream?
Sorry to the YouTube listeners. I did have Mike muted. Sorry, muted TV. I watched you silent on that intro there on the TV side.
They know what I'm saying.
It's all good. I'm feeling good. Excited to haven't get him in as much, but it's always fun when we do.
It is. So yeah, I mean, the first thing that I see here is we've got a UK be a smaller, like a youth large, and then a Kentucky Sports Radio hoodie, and not sure why they're hanging up in the. But apparently, he's just like, this is a giveaway. Is he done with KSR? Well, TJ hates KSR, right? Hatred down because he was doing the show with Roush. Now that Roush, well, Stephen Peake's KSR too. I don't know. You want to own a KSR hoodie? Do it every way on KRC. I don't know. They need to give me a KSR hoodie. Sport that thing around. Just rip it apart. That's Mike's not on.
Maybe this will come back on again.
I mean, what was that? 2010. The last new KSR. Because we had our own show. He had a show that I posted once a week. And then like this version of KSR. I was on one time, yeah, and then they didn't have me back after that. That was it. Producer Matt is here. That's the voice that you're hearing. Across from me, you hear him on a variety of other Big X Sports radio shows every single day. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great with you guys. I wish I could do it more often. I usually have to leave the studio and drive all the way home and take care of dogs and, do some work when I get home as well for my other side hustles and ventures I have. But I usually always ask, and I enjoy coming on with you guys. I did make an oopsie during running with Roman.
Uh-oh.
I broke the question when talking about why I picked the Miami Ohio State under.
Okay.
I misspoke.
Oh no.
And I was given my reasons to why Miami's defense is so good. And I said that they shut out State. We got off. I was like, oh, I definitely did not say that right.
That's okay.
So for anybody, just bet wisely, but I still think it's a good bet.
Sad boys out there keeping track of all the miss of the show. There's one right off that. That's a collection from previous show. So we're all good. Again, the Game Day Men's text line. A lot of you have already weighed in there. 502-4. Also comment on the YouTube Big X Sports Radio. Click on the live button. See the Mike Rutherford show right there. Several of you have already done that. It's actually just people saying unmute Mike. There's no sign getting that figured out. We'll read those comments throughout today's show. Wild college basketball last night, folks. Wild night. I mean, I don't know if anybody watched any local teams playing in college basketball. I feel like we can't even. I mean, Roman, are you still actively rooting for Kentucky for resume purposes?
It's okay. I didn't explain this yesterday.
Okay. Well, you said I'm kind of going for Kentucky.
Yeah, I said kind of because it's like this thing where I'm not paying attention when I'm hoping they lose, but when things are all said and done, I just hope it doesn't look like a bad win.
It's not bad right now. I can already tell.
No, it's not. It's not. We need to not lose Missouri.
You want this UK basketball jersey? Should we give this to you right now?
No, but I want fans to stop.
Well,
at this point, the rate that they're on, he doesn't have any good win.
This is by 26 last night on the road against a bad Maryland team. I mean, look, that was on a neutral floor. It wasn't even at home.
I'm rooting for Indiana.
That's the one we need to hang our hat on. I know the Hoosiers have it all right now. They're about to play for a damn title appearance in football. The favorite to bring it on, got a higher. We still root for them. They're the lesser of two evils without question. You can't tell me that. You see the way they lost the game last night?
It was bad.
It was incredibly fun. Great. I didn't fire up. I felt too basketball wise. I couldn't fire up the post game show with TJ. I wanted to, TJ. Trust me. And Matt and Big Blue Feller 69, whoever has a show out there, I wanted to listen to it last night because that was an all-time collapse. I didn't watch it getting the kids down and doing the news and stuff, but I look up. Kentucky's they're up. I saw they were down big enough. I saw hit a 60-foot shot at the end of the right before halftime. And then every time I look up, they're up 3, they're up by like 5, they're up by like 7. They're kind of keeping Missouri at arm's length. And then right when I really start watching is when the complete collapse happens. I don't even blame Kentucky fans right now for whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing. If our team had ever operated a end of game sequence of possessions the way that UK did last night, I don't care if it was Kenny Payne, Rick Pitino, John Wooden, whoever was our head coach. I would have been that game execution. It was a game. I told you that last night. I was like, they may kill him if they lose this one tonight. They have no business with the Missouri team at home. Well, guess what? They lost to that Missouri team at home. We are Lexington. It is. I mean, the takes are flying out there. Rome is burning. Again, Kentucky fans right now. A lot of Calipari takes out there. A lot of revisionist history out there. But let me just ask you guys the question right off the bat. I mean, they're healthy. Jalen Lowe's playing. Jaden Quaintance is back. They're not playing him in late game possessions for some reason when the game's on the line. But they are now. The computer is still like Kentucky overall. That resume is It's thing is, at this point, they're 9 off to an 0-2 start in the SEC for the first time in a billion years. Do we think they're making it?
No,
It's
their season's over.
I mean, they get a battle from here. They have a couple games here. I think Ole Miss is for them.
Yeah, they play Mississippi State next.
To preface this in sports or first sports calendar year in sports media, and the co-host for Just the Cats, and I am a producer on Kentucky Roll Call.
Mm-hmm.
This has been my favorite year in sports ever. Ever. Oh, my, swept them in like 13 years, and we sweep them this year, and so I have to watch all these games intently so I can talk about them. It was the most enjoyable hate watches I've ever had.
It was. I loved it last night.
Watching Otego hit the corner three that I thought was the dagger in this game. I need they're gonna pull away here, basically not score for 4 more minutes, and then Otego gives the turnover to kind of seal it for him. I mean, not literally because they give one more turnover,
and they miss the layup.
Went from dudes pounding their chest, dash other up, screaming fans high to Otego looking like he wanted to break down and cry.
I mean, he wanted to do something. You saw that last possession. Hands on the hips a little bit there, not exactly moving. Which, by the way, I don't know what was called. Mark Pope said after the game, which Mark Pope just needs to stop talking. If I'm a UK element of it, I hate when Kentucky fans try to say he's RKP. The man was a 3 seed last year, went to the Sweet 16. We won 12 games in 2 years. I will scream that from now until eternity. But the similarities there are when it comes to making a bad, instantly opening your mouth and saying the last thing that the fan base wants to hear. And last night after the game, he's like, yeah, that wasn't the play we drew up. I was like, dude, first of all, it wasn't play. You inbound the ball, Jalen Lowe. Remember the whole conversation I was telling you, the whole conversation. then overpaid for a bunch of good, not great players that didn't really fit the system, you're 9-6 after 15 games. Sometimes that's what happens when you don't have a guy that knows how to handle this type of situation. And Mark Pope, I think we're quickly realizing, doesn't really know how to handle this type of situation. I mean, it's fun to follow. Outside, there's no doubt about it. I think it's Evan Mykov that he had showcased the disparity between which teams have the teams and they can't be good teams. And I'm like they go on the road to LSU, who might be the worst team in the conference. Ken Palm has them as an underdog in that game, though, which is crazy. I think they should be able to win that game. Away against Tennessee, probably a loss, but that rivalry gets weird. And then you get Texas and Ole Miss. You're playing 4 of the worst teams in the SEC in your next 5 games, and 3 of those games are at home. That's an opportunity to gain a little bit of momentum before you go into a tough who's very good, are Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Auburn, and then you end the season with Vandy again and then Florida again. So I think they've got an opportunity to get right a little bit. They don't have a atrocious loss on their resume. Last night's bad, but it's not like a, you know what I mean, Tennessee Tech loss at home. Or they've still got a chance to win the NCAA tournament, but the lightly positive this season feels like it's kind of gone out the window. A couple other things that happened last night. I mean, Arizona blows out Kansas State. I was wrong about it. I keep underestimating Iowa State, and I probably shouldn't do that. TJ Otzelberger, he's got the goods. They go on the road. They beat Baylor by 10. UConn had no business beating Providence. They should have lost that game. They win in overtime in the dunk by 5. Purdue beats Washington with relative ease. BYU, hey, you can spend a lot of money and be pretty good. They hammer Arizona State. Vandy proves it's for real, knocking off Alabama. Arkansas on the road takes on Ole Miss and knocks them off. And then the 2 ACC-ranked teams that played last night. Virginia, no problems with Cal at home. SMU, lots of problems with Clemson on the road. The Tigers pull the upset of the Mustangs, 74-70. Clemson now 3-0 in the ACC. Pretty good. You guys see what Buka Okore did for Stanford, right? You saw it's not just how good he was. He's not slowing down anytime soon. They go on the road. He scores 32 against Virginia with just over a second to play. I mean, kid's really good. It made me feel a Stanford game, them going down there and beating a VT team that was pretty hot and had a lot to play for. But ACC, it's kind of a jumbled mess a little bit. Like, I think you've got to. I think here's what I'll say about the ACC, and feel free to agree or disagree. I think the top 8 teams, if I'm counting correctly, are all NCAA tournament good, or at least all have shots of being in the NCAA tournament. I think the thing with the conference this year is there's a pretty steep drop off after that. They're not as bad from like 9 to 16 as they were a year ago, but it would take a minor miracle for those teams to make the NCAA tournament. And then Boston College is sort of in a world of its own down there at 18. But when you look at the league, I mean, Duke obviously is Duke. I still think we're top 1. Virginia, SU, Carolina are all right now. NC State, despite having some issues, probably still should. It's right there. Beyond that, Clemson is 3-0. could easily be a talk. I mean, take a season, but Miami goes down to Winston-Salem. We're up 2. Like they are. J. Luke kind of proven that he's got some of the goods there. That's 8 teams right there, and then Stanford and Cal, decent resume. They got hot enough in conference play. They could work with a bid, although I think it's me looking more likely that Stanford can do that than Cal. You've got a handful of teams that aren't NCAA tournament good, but have enough talent to knock off teams like us if we're not playing very well. Teams like Syracuse and Notre Dame, VT, and even Georgia Tech, and basically everybody but Boston College. It's a good conference this year, which we needed to happen, but now we've got to step up and navigate this road. It's these 2 months ahead are going to be more exciting than last year's 2 months, just because it felt, we won a lot, but it felt like we had something more to lose than we had to gain every single night out. But they also may come with a little bit more turbulence just because the league is better overall. Which would you prefer? Like rolling through a league and going 18-2, but feeling like every game is kind of we need to win this and we don't really have that much to gain, or having a little bit more of the traditional highs and lows like we're going to have this season?
I'd easily prefer the latter.
Yeah.
It's more fun to watch. I feel like you really get the one thing with our team last year was we did the I'm sorry every time, right? Because we kept winning.
Yeah.
But the thing in the back of our minds was, okay, well, we haven't really beat anybody.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't been tested.
We were aware. It was a coping mechanism a little bit. I can admit that.
I would much rather go through the season and be tested and get a real gauge of how we are when we make the NCAA tournament than to kind of go last year, see what our seed was, and then kind of get humbled.
Roman?
I mean, I want to be tested. I want to know what we look like against in those moments. I like the adversity when you have a good team.
Here's the thing that really sucked about last year too is Clemson was ranked for most of the season, but everybody kind of knew they were a little bit of a paper tiger. They beat Kentucky. They had a decent resume, but they weren't. And plus, it's Clemson. No disrespect to the program. It's Clemson. The only truly elite team, the only team that you could get really excited about playing was Duke in the ACC. And we played them on December 10th. It was right before we even knew what our team was. It was before all the injuries happened and we worked out rotations and all that stuff. So you didn't even have, once we got rolling in January, you didn't even have that game to look forward to. It was every time we play, you got way more to lose than you have to be excited about, even though we were winning all these games. This year, I know it's kind of similar at the top. We got 5 ranked teams in the ACC. That game next Tuesday against Virginia is one that I think the fan base will get up for. It's a name that resonates. It's Virginia. They've had our number over the years. They've also got a great resume. They're nationally ranked right now. They're 13-2. They play Stanford on Saturday at home. Assuming they win that game, 14-2 overall and 3-1 conference, they'll be looking would be their best for us, and we'll be might be our best win of the season for them. We're also going to rock those new Mitchell-inspired uniforms. You guys see those today?
Don't know how I feel about them.
Do you really?
I love overuse of the webbing stuff.
Oh.
I feel like it's a little too much.
Roman, have you seen?
I like the Donovan Mitchell logo. I like the concept. I'm in love with the concept, and I love the logo.
I think it looks cool. He is the first active basketball player to feature his signature logo on a college jersey. This has never happened before. We're making history here. We're wearing this, and it's only happened once in football. It was Patrick Mahomes who had his signature logo, which I don't even know what that is. Do you know what his logo looks like?
I've seen it before, but if you showed it to me, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's Patrick Mahomes' logo.
Just like
probably, yeah. I do like that.
Similar to Donovan Mitchell, it's like a P and an M. And the logo kind of looks like a Monster Energy drink logo had on Texas Tech's jerseys for a game this season. So I think the jerseys look cool. I like the black stripe down the side. U of L put out the pictures today. Michael Brown Jr. wearing it for obvious reasons. He's an Adidas athlete, and they had to do that, even though they opened themselves up to a million responses from fans who were just like, "Was he actually going to wear the jersey? Is he going to play in the jersey?" So there was that today, but I do think those will look cool. The women, I think, are wearing them today for the game that's about to tip off against Miami, and the men's team, according to Brooks Holton of the Courier-Journal, will wear them on Tuesday against Virginia. We've got that big night in basketball ahead again, not necessarily in the 80s games, but we've got a huge night ahead in football. We will talk about it after the break. The first semifinal is going down tonight. We've also got some portal news out there. Players from Lexington. I think the fan base is sort of unsure how to that. We'll discuss that after the break, and then we'll get to some of your thoughts on the Game Day and South text line. It's the Thursday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show. It's live here from the U of L College of Business Studios on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Welcome back in to the Thursday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450, 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Roman Kelly and producer Matt Childress in the house as well today. Is the audio bad on YouTube still?
It's better than it was the first 20 minutes, but I still don't think it's great.
What's happening?
The computer that we use back here is one of those small $50, $80 Amazon computers, and it just can't handle what we do on it. Probably needs an Ethernet cord as well.
What do you do on it?
We're streaming. We're
A lot of downloads.
3 straight hours of radio. I think it's like 8 straight hours of radio now. At points.
Downloading Milk Fun or torrent? What's going on back there? What's that? This 2002 issues. Yeah. I'm just now also using the picture. UK basically is responsible for the only 3 things that are visible. UK basketball jersey, Favre poster. I not hate all of those things more. Back to the people that I like. Come on, get this out here. This is not a bad. I'm gonna have to start hanging.
Take that jersey down.
I can't. I don't want to just like throw it on the floor.
There's a box over there or something.
It's a giveaway. If this were a permanent decoration, we'd be making problems. But apparently, it's going to be gone. If it's not gone tomorrow, we'll have to make a play.
Bad look for our WNA viewers.
It's a terrible look. This isn't what this show's about. We got some football things to talk about. We've been discussing men's basketball there in the first segment. Wild night last night, including for our friends to the east. But on the football side of things, before we talk about tonight's CFP, couple of transfer portal pieces of news from the last 24 hours. The portal doesn't sleep. First of all, we landed a punter from Eastern Kentucky. Could I interest you in a little Jacob Barker, folks?
Yes.
Former standout at Corbin High School, member of the class of 2023, spent 3 years at EKU. I mean, do you think this was we got a chance to see him up close and personal several times during the actual game this season. Do you think this was, I'm worried we're getting Miller Mossed here, where he just showed out against us and they were like, yeah, that guy's good enough. Let's take him. Do we think that's what happened here?
A little bit, but he was also like one of the better FCS punters. So he's not just some average.
Average 43.7.
That's better than what our punter average, I think.
Probably. All UAC. 17 punts of 50 yards or long, the most in the league.
Crazy.
Also had a long of 65 yards. I do just love the idea that we're for certain positions we're like, yeah, if he played well against us, we'll take him. We don't want to look at anybody else.
You can do it against us. Get him.
By the way, Cooper Ranvier is I think on a visit to Tennessee today, which is the program that I'd heard he was going to get a bag from before he even hit the portal. I don't love that. They don't love him down there like we love him up here.
Chance.
What are you doing? Grant Hauser, also the former Louisville tight end, has committed to Colorado State. So best of luck to him out there. Now, Louisville has landed a handful of players already from the portal that played for Kentucky. They landed another one today in the wide receiver. What's his name?
Montavian
Quisenberry. He is the 4th UK player in the portal to commit to the U of L. Obviously, like the other 3, has direct ties to Vince Marrow. He was known as a speedster coming out of high school, was a big-time recruit, hasn't done a ton at UK like the other players have. I mean, how do we feel about it? Because UK fans they're handling this the same way that we would, where they're like, oh, cool, you guys are taking players who've been on the last 2 teams that have sucked. What a weird way to try to build your roster. We've taken 4 of them. It's not like these are our building blocks. I don't think that any of these guys are going to be plug-and-play starters where we're going to be overly reliant on them. But is this funny? Is this smart? Is it kind of annoying? How do we feel about taking 4 players from 2 bad UK teams?
Well, like you said, they're all players that have at least extended eligibility past this season. So, I've seen one of them. Yes, it has been a lot. So it's been like, oh, we're really just kind of guys right now. But at the same time, it's a lot of guys that I'm not expecting to come in and play legitimate majority snaps this season. Now, if we really just have no other wide receiver in this portal and he's just going to be our number 1 guy, then I'd be like, oh, okay, we have some serious problems. But I think that he'll be a dude we can play with down the year. I think the twins on the D-line are going to be somebody that can be great depth pieces down the year. Or not down the year, maybe next season. But I think it's okay for right now.
And it's like, as we say this, by the way, we have just landed a 5th transfer portal player from Kentucky. Another wide receiver, Hardly Gilmore, the fourth, has committed to Louisville via Matt McGavick at Louisville Report. Fifth Wildcat transfer to the Cardinals in the cycle. He is the 11th portal pickup for U of L in the last 3 days. Gilmore, I mean, any stats you put up as a Kentucky wide receiver the last 2 years, I'm going to be like, damn, he's pretty good. Because look at who was throwing them the ball. 28 catches, 313 yards, and a touchdown. He was second on the team. God, with those numbers, he was second on the team in receiving to Kendrick Law. Got immediate playing time at UK as a true freshman last season in 2024. Appeared in 7 games, had 6 catches for 153 yards and a 52-yard touchdown against Murray State, and then obviously played this season as a sophomore.
I think it's weird, but I think at the end of the day, these kids probably are wanting to stay closer if they can, not have to travel all across the country to a team if they can stay in the same kind of a power conference team that's going to pay them a similar amount. I mean, I think you'd look at the Kiesenberry kid. That's somebody whose family's from here, from Danville, Kentucky. So he definitely would probably wanted to stay in the state. For the sake of the rivalry, though, it's weird. Were you guys not just doing L's down? There's footage somewhere.
We're seeing
one of you 5 doing L's down.
Oh, they've all done it. They've all done it. We know they've all done it.
There's probably TikToks of them doing it.
This is a thing across college sports now. Like, you're seeing Oklahoma players transfer to Texas. You're seeing Vandy players transfer to Tennessee and vice versa.
The Georgia Tech wide receiver just transferred to Georgia today. I forgot who it was, but
we've had, and you know, we've done this now. Like, our biggest portal addition, I'm told, in volleyball is a woman who played for UK the last couple of years, who we just got, who's apparently going to help us out a ton. So this is, I mean, I guess it's a trend that's continuing. Now, the other thing about Gilmore that we have to talk about is he does come with like a decent amount of baggage. He's gotten into trouble a couple of times. Last January, he went to transfer to Nebraska following his freshman season and got charged with misdemeanor assault for allegedly punching someone in the face at a storage facility in Lexington, as one does, apparently. And then this past April, he was kicked off the team at Nebraska for unknown reasons, and that's why he ended up returning to Kentucky. Matt Rule, the coach at the time, said nothing outside the program, nothing criminal or anything like that. He's just not going to be with us anymore. So you've had some issues like this has to be Jeff Brom saying, all right, big dog, like, we're trusting you to keep these boys in check. These are your guys. They better not be causing problems here because, one, they played at UK, which already has the fan base giving them the side eye. Two, you bring them in from UK and then they're causing off the field issues or in the locker room issues. We can't have that. So, I mean, I trust your big dog, I guess, is what we're going with here. Who knows? We also
not gonna get mad at him about a storage unit incident in Lexington. It's crazy people down there.
At storage units in Lexington?
I'm sure there are.
Is that from personal experience?
Maybe.
Producer Keith also sent me. This is Tyler Thompson, the UNC edge rusher. I don't know if this is like Twitter profile or if this is personal. It's one of his social media profiles, and it says athlete, and then underneath it, in his little like bio area, it says like outside linebacker at Louisville football, and he's followed by Brady Braun.
I tried to look it up, but I can't find
Has he enrolled at the school? Do we know? Can we start looking at that sort of thing here? I don't know. Would love to make that happen. Producer Keith says it's Instagram. You get Tyler Thompson, I think you're feeling pretty good about that defensive line at that point. So,
yeah,
we'll see where that goes. A couple other portal pieces of news that we have not talked about. Ransom McDermott, the former Louisville offensive lineman in the portal, has transferred to Temple. Best of luck to him there. I think he's the last one we have who's committed. Jerry Lawson committed to Oklahoma State. Was the other one that was. It's funny looking at the stay-go decisions on On3, and the ones they have the little logos where it says last team and then new team. And for a couple of ours now, it's last team Cardinal logo, new team Cardinal logo. They hit the portal, and they just chose to come back. But we will have a Wildcat heavy roster, relatively speaking, next season, just because of these 5 players as of right now in the portal. Let's talk a little. We'll keep you updated on the portal if there's any other news happening throughout the course of today's show, per usual.
If this is his real account, it does have it on there. I'm looking at it. He's also followed by Dalton Pitts and Brady Brom, so I imagine this is his real Instagram account.
If Dalton's following him, then we know it's locked in. We know it's real. I trust Dalton when it comes to his social media follows.
It's looking real.
Okay. I mean, hopefully that's maybe just a procedural thing. I don't know.
It's a very interesting way to go about that. Just put that in your Instagram bio and then not.
Is that his announcement? I would love it if this is a very non-2026 type announcement. Most players go with the big grand
straight to business. Just throw it in the bio, take the title, get straight to work. He's not worried about a post.
He just doesn't tell anybody. Just shows up at class today. He's like, I'm ready. Weightlift session. Let's go.
I'm feeling this dude just is not like digitally locked in. I mean, he doesn't have an Instagram profile picture. He only has 3 photos.
Maybe he doesn't know how to do it.
Maybe he went to send the tweet out and accidentally saved it as a draft.
His buddy, who's his agent, who also doesn't know how to work Instagram, for him.
He hired the one completely social media inept agent in college sports right now. Like, I don't know what to do. The picture doesn't look good.
It's like that joke where it's like, imagine if we just never announced free agent trades and then you just saw who was on your team the first game. Yeah. Tyler Thompson just rushes out the tunnel first game.
We're like, who the hell is number 9? It's like, oh, yeah, there we go. Let's go. He would be a big addition, no question about it. AJ Green's like, what the hell? We'll see. We'll see how this all plays out, but there are definitely some tea leaves to read at the moment. Tonight, nationally, the big story in college football, we do actually play games in the sport, by the way. There's the first semifinal going down tonight. 7:30 is the kickoff. It's the Fiesta Bowl between Miami and Ole Miss. Winner gets a spot in the national championship game. Both sides have interesting storylines behind them. Miami, the last at-large team from the ACC, pulling back-to-back upsets to get to this point. Ole Miss now, no head coach, no problem. Now they're having more assistants that are leaving in the middle of a national semifinal run, which is absolutely insane. Who are we rooting for? I mean, are we? Do we do the Ole Miss story is funny.
ACC.
Romans rah ACC. Producer Matt, are you rah ACC?
100%.
I am too.
This would be look. You're right. The Ole Miss story is funny because of Lane Kiffin. Haha. How funny would it be if after all of the talking about the ACC all season and then the SEC underperforming in postseason, the ACC overperforming, and the ACC team wins the national championship?
It'd be amazing.
A team that
I don't want to see a funny-looking quarterback like that hoist that trophy up.
You got Sid the Sloth hoisting the trophy.
It'd be great.
This would also be the 3rd straight year where we have not had an ACC team even playing in the national title game, and both years we've had the expanded playoff where they've been lobbying in every way, shape, form
with no SEC champ
to get to as many teams in the field as possible. And now we look up and none of them are making it to the championship game. I would like that to happen. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, so somebody pointed this out. We talk all this crap nationally, or you hear all this crap nationally about the ACC, and you can't have multiple ACC teams in the playoff, and it was an abomination last year that SMU got in and all this stuff. If Miami were to win the national title, and they're just 2 wins away from making that happen now, it would be the 4th ACC champion in the last 13 years of college football, and the 3rd different team from the ACC to pull it off. I know that you can say, well, depth and all this. It's still a pretty head-turning stat.
That is.
Because people I'm not even trying to say, the ACC is on par with the Big Ten or the SEC, but people say the Big 12 is better than the ACC. What the hell is nobody in the Big 12 has done anything remotely impressive in the postseason besides TCU pulling off one upset and then losing by 70 in the national title game. That's it. We have been a superior conference any way you slice it to the Big 12. Anybody who's like the ACC is the next one to fall, they're the 4th out of 4, it should actually be the Big 3, is ridiculous. We are above the Big 12. We've been above the Big 12. We will continue to be above the Big 12.
When did TCU play in the title game?
Remember they got smacked by
Georgia.
Just 4 years ago.
Okay.
They beat Michigan, huge upset. And then what was the final score? That was it 66 to
It was 60 something.
65-7.
Was that the year after Cincinnati?
Yes. This was the 2022 season. The games were played in 23, so this was 3 years ago. Yeah, 65-7. Because I think we had a big debate on the show the next day. Trevor and I did about, is it worth playing in a national championship game as a program like TCU, who we kind of are on the same level. We used to have a rivalry back in the old CUSA days. Like, would you rather have that distinction of being a national runner-up, or have that like stigma of being the team that lost the title game by 58 points? And I was like, I don't even know if it's worth it at this point. Like, do TCU fans, every time you want to thump your chest about, well, we've played in a national title game, you know what the response is from whoever you're talking to is going to be. That'd be tough.
That was one of those years, though, that Georgia, we knew by November Georgia was going to win it all, right?
Well, they were really, really good. I mean, I think that a lot of people thought that the Michigan team that TCU beat the game before had a real legitimate shot of taking down Georgia. And was that the year that Georgia and Oklahoma played the great game in the semifinal? Or was this Georgia-Alabama in the semifinal? Whatever it was, I think was Ohio State. Now I'm all.
I don't think it was Oklahoma. Oklahoma hasn't won a playoff game yet, have they?
Oh, I know, but I think they may have played. No, this was the Ohio State Georgia game where the Peach Bowl, where Ohio State had them beat. Remember, and then Georgia goes on a crazy run in the fourth quarter. They win 42-41.
Oh, that's right.
The Ohio State has the last second field goal right as the ball's dropping on New Year's Eve.
That was C.J. Stroud. I think.
The kid pulls it left, right, and people put the videos together of the ball dropping and the kick going just left. Yeah, Ohio State had that game won. They had no business losing that game. And then Georgia put to bed any notion that they might be overrated by just destroying TCU in the finals, 65-7. But, I'm rah-rah ACC. Ole Miss is the only semi-acceptable team for me from the SEC to be at this point, just because they do have the funny story and the weird story of not having a coach. And it's also like a little bit of a middle finger to Lane Kiffin. Like, you thought you were this important. Guess what? They're out there beating Georgia without you. But I still sort of believe that this is the runner-up game. I think whoever wins the semifinal tomorrow night is going to be the national champion. But Miami's defense is clearly, they're doing what they're doing. It's remarkably impressive. They're a 3-point favorite in this game as well, which I think is a little bit interesting. They've been going up against more of the statuesque type of quarterback the last two games to get to this point, and Ruben Bain has feasted. Trinidad Chambliss is a guy that can get out there and run. He can make plays with his feet. He can extend plays with his legs. Do we think that at all is going to be an issue for this vaunted Hurricane defense tonight?
I think so. I think that their defense is just like firing in all cylinders right now. They're kind of just flying around the field. The thing is, it sounds weird when I hype up this Miami team, because every single time I talk about how great their defense is and how great Ruben Bain is and how much he just gives these quarterbacks hell, I just think this guy got pieced up by Louisville's O-line and Miller Moss.
He got mossed.
Like, they literally got mossed.
But got mossed. Miller style.
I digress. I think that their goal is going to be, I think it's going to be not trying to get into the backfield as much, but just trying to like bat passes down, kind of like what we do. Kind of like we're not, like when we play against those running quarterbacks, we're not trying to get sacks all the time. We're trying to just contain him and maybe bat some passes down, because I feel like Trinidad Chambliss is going to have it's going to be rough for them to get him down with his mobility, but I think overall their defense is going to trump their offense.
I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm excited to take it in tonight. I think it'll be going to be really good games for different reasons. It'll be a little less high scoring than IU, Oregon, or who the hell knows, held in check at times this season, and IU's defense is playing really well. But I'll be the millth person to point out how weird it feels that this sport, which is as synonymous with Saturdays as the NFL is with Sundays, is playing its three most important games of the season on a Thursday, a Friday, and a Monday. It feels wrong, but also college football is doing the smart thing. They don't want to go up against the NFL playoffs. Nobody can go up against the NFL playoffs. It's just, you got to do what you got to do, and playing these games on Thursday and Friday, I guess, is the best possible scenario. I mean, which of these games excites you guys the most?
Definitely this one.
This one?
I think this one, I mean, I think this is a more evenly based matchup. I do think that Ole Miss is going to try to do some interesting things offensively that will put Miami's defense up to the task, but at the same time, I just don't think that Indiana and Oregon are that. I think they're going to blow them out.
Ooh. Okay.
I think they're a more complete team than Oregon. I don't know if Oregon's offense, Dante Moore, if he doesn't have a clean pocket and all day to throw, he's iffy. I think Indiana's going to capitalize on that. This game, though, I think can be exciting. I think this is one turnover can change the entire complex of this game.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited to watch the games. It still feels good to have college football this, in January and have two games to get excited about. And I feel like we've got at least a semi-rooting interest. I've got no love lost for Miami, but one, it's a team from the ACC, and two, it's teams that we beat. Like I would love to be like, we beat the national champ. It's always fun to say, and especially true when you went down there and beat them on their home field. Now,
I think a chance for them to just negate an SEC team being there again is really
cool. I'm with you there. We all love hating the SEC, and this is a chance to eliminate them from the playoffs before the title game for a third straight year. Do we get more mad, though, in a weird way, if Miami does win the national title? I mean, because every time they've played, or I guess both times they've played in the playoffs, I've gotten the same text probably like 5 or 6 times from different people where it's like, how the hell do we beat these guys? I mean, they look incredible. Ruben Bain looks like the best defensive player we've seen in college football since like Ndamukong Suh. And like Matt said, Miller Moss went out there and put 24 on him and won the game. If they win the national title, it's very cool to be like, thump your chest, and then you, in the next breath, have to be like, okay, yeah, but we lost. We went 4-4 in the ACC despite beating those guys at home. I don't know. I'm hoping that it happens, but I will be a little bit torn.
I saw a tweet. I think it was right after Miami beat Ohio State, and it was a joke, obviously, but it was like, gosh, Miami is torching them. Could you imagine what Louisville would do to this Ohio State team? And I'm like, gosh, they're getting mossed easily.
Yeah,
I also do think, though, that was perfect timing. The perfect timing for a Jeff Brom game like that, and the worst timing for a Cristobal game like that. And the stars kind of aligned for us.
I could see that.
I think Mario still got one in him in these last 2 games. Like, he's still got one terribly dumb decision in him at some point, either tonight or if they win this game in the national title.
It would be in the national championship game.
He can't handle that. Couple of quick things to get to before we wrap up this segment. One, having a little bit of baseball news. Perfect Game USA is out with their preseason top 25. They're one of the 72 polls that they use in college baseball. Louisville, number 16 in their preseason top 25 poll. They are the second highest ranked team from the ACC. I always have to double check now because I'm like, I forget that team's in the ACC. Like, you see Stanford on some of these lists. Like, I saw last night, what was the basketball game? Like Washington, Texas. I'm like, or no, Washington somebody. And I'm like, that's not a Big Ten game. What are we doing here? I take it back. We're the third highest ranked team from the ACC. Georgia Tech is number 2 in the preseason poll. Virginia is number 14. And then we're sitting there at number 16. Zion Rose and Lucas Moore are also preseason All-Americans from Perfect Game USA. There have also been 2 of the highest profile NBA draft guys that are out there. My boy Ricky O'Donnell and then Sam Vecini for The Athletic. They've come out in the last 24 hours with updated mock drafts. Vecini doesn't do the full draft. He just ranks the top 100 prospects. Both of those guys have Michael Brown Jr. lower than they did the last time they updated their list, which I think was like a month and a half ago. Ricky had Michael at 4th overall the last time he did a mock draft. He's got him down to 9th overall now. Vecini had him at 6th. He now has Michael at 10th overall. Ricky who? O'Donnell. Shout out to SB Nation. It's my guy. Here's what he had him down at 9th going to the Mavericks. Vecini said this about Michael Brown being down to 10. He said, Michael Brown Jr. comes next for me, even though his performance has been a little bit more up and down than Darius Acuff. He's averaging 16.6 points and 5.1 assists, but he's been inefficient largely because his jumper has bizarrely abandoned him. He's only made 26.8% of his threes. I haven't talked to a scout yet who is concerned about Brown's shooting once he gets to the NBA, and Brown is dealing with a lower back injury that has held him out of multiple games over the last month. He needs to improve on defense, but Brown's intersection of explosiveness athletically, shooting, and passing looks pretty special. I think everybody recognizes that Michael would be a lottery pick if he didn't play another game this season. But I think you are seeing his stock dip a little bit from, and who knows, maybe these people are wrong, and the agents and the people that matter out there, the scouts and the coaches and the executives still have him as a top 5, top 6 pick. It does strike me, though, as a situation where it benefits him to play. Like if he's talking about, I want to be, forget lottery, I want to be a top 5 pick, or I want to be the first point guard drafted, the best thing he can do is go out there and have a really solid 2.5 months on the court in his only season of college basketball, and show that some of these early shooting percentages were misleading, and show that the back is not an issue. He's got a lot of motivation to play, and I don't just say that as a jaded Louisville fan who hopes that he does play. And I don't think it's even an issue. He's going to start playing, whether it's Saturday or next Tuesday. But for anybody who's saying that it's in his best interest to just lock it up and not play the rest of the season, I don't think that's true. He can work his way back up these draft boards with a big 2.5 months. We have a couple things to talk about. We've run out of time, though, this segment. We'll start the next segment with a couple of quick notes. We'll give you an update on the Louisville women's basketball game, and then we'll let you guys take over on the Game Day Men's Health text line. It's the Mike Rutherford Show. It's the Thursday edition here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. And Thursday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450-96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, our guy John Burke and the crew over there at United Mechanical, they are your winners, your trusted partners for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Give them a call at 502-339-1133 or follow them online at UnitedMechanicalInc.com. The big dog has tweeted about Hardly Gilmore. How Gilmore is he? Hardly. The big dog just says, great addition. Let's go to work. Producer Matt was pointing out during the break, you've got Tyler Thompson on Instagram with no profile picture, but Louisville in his bio despite no commitment. And then you've got Hardly Gilmore now, who has Louisville in his bio, but a UK picture as his pro. These are madness. You got cats eating dogs. Like, maddening times. Who knows what's going on out here?
Who's running these social media accounts?
Who that? What the hell? Somebody hire somebody. You got paid now. Let's go. What in the world is going on?
We're just not doing PR for college players anymore.
This is ridiculous. KSR, 40% of Louisville's transfer portal class is made up of Vince Marrow's Kentucky Wildcat. Well, that's just bad math because it's just that's not true. It's not. We had 4 out of 15 when you post that. It's now 5 out of 17. It's not 40%. About 40%.
Also, I mean, it's not even really that surprising because these are all dudes that Vince Marrow brought in.
Yeah. Not shocking. Not shocking at all. We had a couple of quick notes to get to. I promise we'll get to the Game Day Men's Health text line here momentarily. But I did want to make mention, we were talking about Sam Vecini and his updated top 100 prospects list. He does have Ryan Conwell at number 39 on that list as well. A guy who I think has improved his draft stock over the course of the last couple of months by playing at Louisville. I wanted to bring this up as well. And this is going to sound... I don't want to sound like we have to choose our favorite son here. But I thought it was interesting today. The Wooden Award announced its midseason top 25 watch list. Basically, the 25 players that they feel have the best chance of being the Wooden Award winner at the end of the season. And they've got a Louisville player on the list, and it's Michael Brown Jr. If I'm Ryan Conwell, I'm kind of like, okay, like that seems wrong. I feel like I've been this team's leading scorer the whole season. I also haven't missed any time with injury. I'm shooting better percentages. I'm averaging more points. He's got me in assists, but like I love Michael. He had a great game against UK. I feel like you look at some of the names on the list, like Nate Ament. Tennessee fans are making Saddam Hussein edits on TikTok with his photo with his highlights in there. They're like, what does this guy do? He's been like their 4th best player. He's on this list. What are we doing here? Like, again, no disrespect to Michael, but we haven't had him for a month. And if I'm putting a Louisville player on this list because they're like, oh, they're one of the best teams, we got to put somebody from the team on the list. It should be Ryan Conwell, right?
I'm Ryan Conwell.
Yeah.
Definitely Conwell.
Seems very, very strange. But, this are what they are. Regardless, congratulations to Michael. Who had mentioned USA men's basketball under 19 year because of how well he played in the World Cup. Deserved that honor. First, he was the best player on that team. No question about it. He's been listed as one of the top performers yesterday at the second day of practice for the Navy All-American Bowl. He's out there. You can find the highlights all over social media, dropping dimes. If he's not our quarterback in 3 years, we can have a conversation about why that is, but certainly seems to look the part right now. I had one more thing that I was going to get into, and now Louisville men's and women's basketball are among the 10 most watched college basketball programs so far this season, according to the Nielsen ratings. Shouldn't come as a huge surprise, but it still feels good, despite all the things going on. We got the two of the 10 most watched programs in both sports.
How did Nielsen ratings work anymore? Because weren't they like cable boxes back then?
Yeah,
to
my knowledge, it's still like handwritten.
I was like, because now streaming services have their own metrics, right?
Yes, but the Nielsen ratings, I don't think have changed their styles. The way that so I didn't know how like radio ratings worked before I started working in radio. The first time it got explained to me, I was like, that's the stupidest thing. It's the smallest sample size of all time. Basically, they give you, they ask like, do you want to be a Nielsen, whatever, and they send you like a little piece of paper, and you just write down what you listen to on the radio, and it's only like 200 people or some ridiculously small sample size. to figure out how they calculate these ratings, and they pay you like $10 if you do it to try. So like there are some people that will just, like they'll make up what they listen to, or if they like a certain station, they'll act like they're listening to it at all hours of the day, and they'll do it for the $10. It's a very unscientific way to track metrics. It's why you talk to people in radio and they'll be like, there were books where I felt like we had a bunch of listeners, we're getting a lot of interaction, the ratings were terrible, and there were times where I felt like nobody listened for a month, and our ratings were off the charts. You don't know. It's an inexact science, but I think that's still the way that the TV ratings work as well. It's like it's handwritten, old school, snail mail. To the best of my knowledge, that's the way that it works. Who knows? Game Day Men's Health text line is 502-414-1450. Reminder, if you have New Year's resolutions to get in better shape, improve your sexual performance therapy, get more peptides in you, GameDayMen'sHealth.com has you covered. Visit there today to find out what they can do for you and how they're redefining this new era in men's health. Let's go to the text line. Let's get to it. Boom. Texter says, God, lots of text at the beginning of the show. Texter, hey, Grok, put Mark Pope on the coaching hot seat. You can't fire him after 2 years. If they do miss the NCAA tournament, you can't fire Mark Pope, right?
Vince Brown just tweeted at Nick Roush again.
Oh, what did he say?
3 hours ago, not to cut everybody off, my fault.
No, this is good. This is breaking news.
3 hours ago, Nick Roush tweeted, Louisville is building his transfer portal class from a team that went 9-16 over the last 2 seasons. And then it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays off for him. And then he just now replied to him, said, this is the same guy he said we would lose by 14 to Kentucky. LOL, you can't make this stuff up. Love you, buddy. He got buddied. He also, we got to. I think the big dog's language is getting a little bit better. Lose and lose. We got to work on that a little bit. It's just 1-0 for lose. 1-0. Let's get it. Oh, he did put loose. I read it. That's funny.
Man, UK fans after him in the comments there too. I love that he's just like he doesn't go after Matt. He does point out Nick Roush every time he wants to go at a UK fan. He tweeted at Roush before the game was over.
Hello, Nick
this
Roush.
Year. Yeah, just the Roush Merrill relationship is fantastic.
As much as I love Nick Roush, the tweet itself is kind of like it gives me the South Park vibes. Like, you're gonna cream us. Like, we were terrible.
We're gonna get creamed. It's cell phone. That's rare. Texter says, do we think, Roman, Mark Pope, they missed the tournament this year. Does Kentucky even entertain the idea of firing him?
They entertain it.
You can't do it after 2 seasons,
right? You can't do it, but you entertain it.
People always like to bring up the Billy Gillispie thing, how they pulled the trigger after 2 seasons. One, he never had a season close to as successful as the season Pope had last year at UK. He took him to the tournament the first year, but they were like an 8 seed, 9 seed, something like that. 2, Gillespie was littered with off-the-court problems that everybody knew about. Everybody knew that he was drinking way too much. Everybody knew that he was hanging out with co-eds. Everybody knew that he was going to that hotel hot tub and doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing. And it was an easy out for UK, the brass at UK, to be like, well, we can't have that. You don't deserve a third year. If it's Mark Pope and you've invested this money in him, and you've got to say, maybe we just have the wrong group of players. Maybe this time we got to figure out some way to get roster construction. Pope clearly knows how to coach. Look at what he did at BYU. Look at what he did at Utah Valley. But it's the personalities. I don't know if that's necessarily what I would do, but I think that's the way that they will handle it if it comes down to that.
I think so too, but I also think that if it continues to look like it did last night, and they look like they don't have an offense that works, like they're not putting any of these players in a position to succeed, like the players' best abilities are not being shown, that continues and you don't make the tournament, people will be calling for his job.
I saw last night, out of the many tweets that I saw, like, we're watching TV. We finished The Pit last night, season 1. Very good show. Don't recommend watching it while eating dinner because it's very graphic hotel trauma OR stuff. But it's a good show. But as Mary's watching the show, I think she's a little bit more into it than I am. I like it, but it's I don't like blood and guts and stuff. But she keeps looking over at me. I'm like giggling on my phone. And she's like, what are you doing over there? I'm like, I'm reading Matt Jones mention something on Twitter after the game. But the best one ever was there was a UK reporter who said, Mark Pope on things that aren't translating into games. And he said, quote, "We're having a tough time translating. I'm not sure exactly why." And this UK fan responds with, "Because the players don't speak soaking." And I was just like, oh, God. They've already reached this part way earlier than I thought they were going to. Texture says, Papa J here. What's up, Papa J? Good evening, Mike and Roman. Several comments and thoughts. Please, people, don't go jumping off a bridge. It's been a year and a half. Yes, as Mike and Roman both said, and I agree, it's a big learning curve to go from mid-major to the blue bloods of the college basketball world. I do think Chucky and somewhat Terrence took big leadership roles last year on the court by voice and example. Yes, I've said from the first game, team defense and rebounding must improve. Yes, Mike, I think PK missed 3 important timeouts during the game, 1 in the first half and 2 in the second half. I wish we could play a sagging zone, looking man-to-man at times, just guarding maybe 1 or 2 steps outside the three-point line. Yes, we need Michael Brown play to save Conwell's legs. As always, have a great rest of your show. Go Cards. Love you guys. Papa J. I agree with pretty much all that. Texture says, Donut Factory guy here. Tough couple of weeks for the Cards, but the vibes here in Lexington are toxic for a lot of reasons. Tooth count, education level, delusional expectations. I'm glad we aren't UK. Oh, also, I wanted to say that as more of a football fan my whole life, I love listening to you guys get into detail about basketball. Listening to you both talk ball and Roman really getting into the details has made me better at watching games and more likely to pick up on nuances that I would have missed in the past. I need Roman to start some Keith Wynn-style game breakdowns with clips for the Cron. Keep up the good work, fellas. Stay glazed. Go Cards.
I was thinking about that during the Duke game.
I would love for you to do that. Content.
I want to.
It's king.
You know, I'll kind of do a little bit of a whiteboard segment here. But then it's like, I don't want to. You have to do it when it's positive, too, right? And that's, you know, it's a lot of work. But I think I might look into this.
I want you to be like over the top, both positive and negative. Like what the hell is Kenai doing here?
Like the awful coaching guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Pat Kelsey! How many times are you going to tell Ali Khalifa to not drop in your ear?
Those videos are so funny. He's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
so it's actually informative, but he's so angry it makes it hilarious.
I'm reputable. I know what I'm talking about, and then you can add the comedic element to it, and it works.
Yeah. I'll look into it.
Texas says, "What was the official Brom Clunker game of 2025? It seems to be split between Cal and UVA." I mean, I think it's Cal, right?
Cal.
It's got to be Cal because it came. Was it the week immediately after the Miami game, or was it 2 weeks after the Miami game?
I think it was 2 weeks because we played VT in between, didn't we?
I think that's right.
I thought it was the Cal game. And I even came on your show and said it was the Cal game, and I have changed.
It was 3 games out. It was 3 games after. We played BC and then VT, and then we played Cal.
I know that the Cal game basically took us out of the playoff contention and stuff like that. So, that's why I think it's. I said that before.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the Brom Clunker this year was a Clemson game.
I think that was the one that was the most mismanaged. That was the one that we should have won more than the other two. But I think the Clunker game is always, well, hell, I mean, I was about to say, it's usually against the worst team that you lost to. Who was worse between Cal and Clemson? They both were. I mean, I think they had the same record, didn't they? Clemson was 7 and did they win their bowl game? No, they choked in their bowl game. They were 7-5. I mean, Cal was 7-5. Clemson was also 7-5. So they had the same record.
I think it was Clemson just for the point that you made that that was the one that Brom had his hand in and that lost the most.
Agree with that.
Whereas Cal there was a lot of single performances that weren't really great. The defense just didn't show up.
Yeah.
But I mean, they
messed that up. I mean, Jeff played his role at the end of the Cal game there.
He did.
The Clemson game, that was the one where it was 5 things happened that we could have easily controlled. And if we just did one of them right, we win that game. And we did none of them right, and we lost by a point. Cal, I still lean with Cal just because it's Cal.
It's on your home field against talent that's not up to your par with yours.
At that point, we're 7-1. We're 15th in the country. We control our own destiny. We're favored by, I think we were favored by more in that game than we were in the Clemson game. Now, that's kind of unfair because we just lost to Cal when we played Clemson. But we were 8.5-point favorites in that game. And to lose that, I feel like that fits more of the mold of the Clunker. But Clemson, I agree with your overall sentiment that Clemson was the one that I think we had Like there was no real reason to lose that game. Like Clemson didn't even do anything well. At least with Cal, you could say Sagapulitele just came out there and put on a show, and he showed why he's one of the best freshman quarterbacks in college. Like all this stuff. With Clemson, it was just like, no, we just like screwed up every time we had a chance to win this game and refused to take anything that they gave us.
It felt like the opposite of the UK game where we might have saved Dabo Swinney's job. Instead of Mark Stoops, if he doesn't get blown out by 41-0, maybe he's still there. I mean, it looked like back and forth Jeff Brom and Dabo were trying to see who wanted to win, who wanted to lose the most.
Yeah. It was bad.
It was
bad. I'll hear arguments for either game. The fact of the matter is I think we still just have one. That's the point. Texture says, read my text from yesterday, Michael. Crap, read. And then again, read my text from yesterday, Michael. Your text from yesterday was, last night was very disappointing. This staff needs to check the egos at the door and come up with a game plan that fits this team. Cut the rotation down a bit and get to Indy in March. Also, am I the only person that notices Fru's awful attitude every game? Even when he's playing well, something just seems off with him. I don't think he wants to be here. I think that's just his personality. I don't think it's an awful attitude. Maybe I'm wrong about
this a couple weeks ago. He kind of has the, resting, uninterested face.
Yeah, we've had he sort of has the Ray Spalding face.
Yeah,
where people would always be like, why doesn't Ray care? And I'm like, I think Ray cares. This is just who Ray is, like personality.
Looked like he was mad at all 9 players on the floor at all times.
I think that's Fru too. I mean, Fru's also. I mean, things are so now different professionally in Europe than they are over here, and I think you're also seeing a product of that. Like that's just kind of more of the demeanor over there.
There were some moments where there were some facial expressions after he lost the ball a couple of times where it's like he almost, to me, in my opinion, he's like, did you not think you were at fault for that happening right there kind of moments?
Oh, really? Like kind of arms out?
Yeah, kind of looking confused. Like the only thing you could have to say in that moment is that you should have gotten the ball right there. It kind of looked like you could tell he was feeling what was happening out there in live time and not satisfied with it. That's about all I could say to that, though. Yeah, which I think is a good thing. I
don't know Sananda Fru personally, so I can't say definitively one way or the other. I think it's likely overblown just based on, we're watching from afar. We don't know the kid personally, but maybe it is. Maybe he isn't happy here. Who knows? I don't think that's the case, but
I mean, he is a dude who just left his home to come play college basketball. And what was it after the what game was it where they were talking about the Thanksgiving break? What game did we play right after Thanksgiving break?
It was like NJIT. I mean, it was somebody bad, right?
He had a really good game. And the only reason I know is because Paul Rogers was interviewing after the game and asking him about his first Thanksgiving in America. And he was talking about how much he loved going to Pat Kelsey's house and they were so welcoming and he had like a really great time. So I guess it does seem a little weird and off-putting to us to see a guy who is just literally stone cold Steve Austin face the whole time the game. Win or lose, the dude could go dunk on somebody and then just jog down the floor.
Doesn't scream, doesn't do anything. I think that's just him. Like there are guys like that. He's not the first player to have that demeanor. He won't be the last. As far as cutting down the rotation, Zugris already isn't playing. Kaysen's barely playing. To me, I guess he's expendable.
We were 2-point favorites against Cal.
Were we really?
We were.
Okay, that's the clunker then. That's got to be the clunker. 20.5?
It was like 18.5 to 20.5 is what it was moving.
Man.
Texter just sent that in, and I was like, wait a minute.
That's crazy.
To go look, and
20.5. Okay, yeah, we lost a game that we were 20.5 point favorite. I mean, what was the spread for the Clemson game then?
I think it ended at 18.5 for Cal, so it closed at 18.5.
I think it was less than a touchdown, wasn't it, against Clemson?
I don't think it was that.
We were like 7.5 point favorites or 8.5. I think Clemson was the 8.5 game.
Clemson was, I'm looking it up right now, we were 2.5 point favorites over Clemson at kickoff.
Then what does Cal compare to the biggest spread that we've lost?
Well, I mean, Syracuse, like all time.
Yeah, like
the Syracuse game in 07 was like 35.5 because that was at the time, that was the biggest point spread upset in the history of college football. And then like 2 weeks later, John Harbaugh and Stanford upset USC as like 38-point underdogs, and that took over. And I was like, hey, hoorah! Look at that one, everybody. Yeah, forget about the. So that I think I can't imagine we've had a bigger one since then.
That's definitely the biggest in Jeff Brom's era.
Yeah, because the Pitt game on the road. Well, no, the Stanford game 2 years ago was, I think, bigger when we lost there. I think we were like 20.5-point favorites in that game because the Pitt game the year before when they were so bad, it was only like an 8.5-point spread. I think the Stanford game in 2024, because that you forget how bad that Stanford team was. I'm looking it up right now. That I think that was still the biggest, like the all-time clunker. I was watching that game and it was like, man, you guys actually have a little something. It was, these guys suck. What are we doing out here?
On third long.
Well, then, like, I'm going to kill this guy with no reason. Now
You didn't hurt.
We would have won it overtime. I mean, there was never a moment. I was like, "Are you hurl that 50 yards for no reason whatsoever?" One of the dumbest things ever seen a little athlete do in any situation.
I just remember we were all time when I won, and on the and I was Kings. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I watched it. I think it was like in the middle of the second quarter where we were like blasting them, and I was like, "Okay, don't worry about it anymore." Then like an hour, the front desk, like let's check what the is, and they are Stanford's driving down. And I'm like the flag come out. Wow.
I should remember my dad, who is a because Mary had something going on, and I was watching the game, and Dad kept being like, "I don't like that." I'm like, "We're fine, and then like it just keeps getting crazy. Like we just refuse to pull away, and I'm like, "Oh God, oh no!" Like it was a train wreck in slow motion. That was terrible. Texas, I was hoping we were going to hear from Dolphins guy today. Congrats to Dolphins guy. I think he was ready for the change to be made.
They finally got a win.
He says they freed me, Grandma. The bad man is gone. Now cut Tua, all caps. Poor Dolphins guy. Texas says, question. If you could make tweaks to this year's team based on previous U of L teams with similar personnel, which tactics would you try to mimic from those teams on offense and defense? On defense, I think the 08-09 team is a good comparison because we had slow guards with Jerry Smith and the guy we don't name and utilized the matchup zone with length in our front court. But we do have the length. Offense, we're doing pretty well, but when we go into an offensive slump, I think I would mimic the 2010-11 team with letting Conwell cook like Knowles did and not worry about shot selection being a 3 like was often the case when Knowles got hot with mid-range jumpers. Also, Camp McNeely out in the corner like Kirk and dish with the defensive focuses on Conwell. Just my U of L fanfic adjustment thoughts for the day. I mean, offensively, we built this team to play the way that Pat wants to. And I think when you get Michael Brown back, I think you've got to see that part of it through. I know people get upset with the launching 38 threes a game when it doesn't work. I think with Michael back and playing hopefully the way that we expected him to play from the beginning of the season on, I think you've got a pretty lethal offense right there that can beat just about anybody on any given night. So I would say it would take us looking stagnant offensively or up and down offensively for the next month with a healthy Michael before I would say, all right, I'm switching something up here. Defensively.
A month?
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to let him, we got to see this thing through. Like you built this team with the intention of playing a certain way. He hadn't been on the court in a month. If he comes back out, I expect him to have a little bit of rust whenever he gets back on the floor. I want to see how he performs over these 3 weeks. I mean, if we drop a game we're not supposed to out of our next 4 and then like get beaten by Duke just handily at Cameron Indoor, then I think you're like, all right, maybe this just isn't going to work against the best teams we have to play. But I mean, for all the problems that the fan base has, we have the 6th best offense in college basketball according to Ken Palm's ratings. The offense has still been pretty damn good so far this season. Defense is another story. I think the proposed change that you have in 08 with the 08-09 team is good. I mean, I would just like to see, forget about trying to mimic what a certain team did. I loved that Pitino would slowly integrate new defensive looks throughout the course of a season And then when he felt like the team was reliable enough to implement those in games, he would play multiple defenses in a single possession. I would love to just if you don't have on ball defenders, teams that are playing man is not like a crazy system that can hide deficiencies. If the ball system, your system, and I think we've seen that from November.
I would like to see the shot change when we get in those slumps. Adrian Woolley has too much skill. Conway has too much skill for them to be resorting to the kind of shots we get when things aren't seeming to figure themselves out. So
you're saying like if a guy's missed 3 straight, you don't want him taking 4, you want him getting to the basket.
No, don't come off that screen and fire up another one. Get to the free throw line.
I think
if you can get in front of your man and make another defender commit.
I think most people agree with you. All right, we got to go to break. When we come back, more from you guys. Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450 is the number. The Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450-96.1, Big X Sports Radio.
Alone in a world that's so cold.
Welcome back in. 4 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450-96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Roman, I got to ask you a question. This is going to upset the masses here, but I got to ask you an NBA question.
Did you see the highlights from last night?
I saw the highlights from last night. What do you have to say?
Crazy night in the NBA. I feel like this is like January and February, like every year, just starts getting hectic.
Mm-hmm.
Contract year guys start really hooping. All the players that were trying to diddle daddle with their injuries start taking things serious, because it's that if you're on a team that's actually doing something, you have to take it serious at this point. And the trade deadline, obviously, of course, is not too far away. So if you know you're on a team that's got your name talked about, you want to go out there and pretty much try out for any team that is going to offer up for you. So that's another thing that's happening that you kind of see when January comes around.
Trae Young left the game middle of the game last night. Just said bye.
Traded.
Why did he want to go to Washington?
I've been asked this by Matt today on the Running with Roman show, the group chat last night. A couple buddies randomly asking me. We talked about it on the In and Out show last night on the Real Spill podcast, our NBA show. We also forgot to announce that we have a new college basketball show. We'll get into that.
Nice,
but I don't know. I think ultimately,
yeah, I like that you just laid out all the different people that have asked you, and like the answer is I don't know. I haven't responded yet.
He's 27 years old, and he is a ball dominant point guard, and
he's not from the East Coast.
He's not, but he still in his head still envisions himself as the head honcho on a team that is going to have success with the way he plays. I think that's where he's been led astray. I think that's where his camp is not understanding the landscape of the NBA enough right now, because even though there are a bunch of young athletic defending guys in Washington, he still can't defend. His shot has still been iffy the last year or so. He still turns the ball over too much. He needed to go get paired up with an Anthony Edwards, an Amen Thompson, even a Devin Booker or something like that, not being the vocal point of an offense. And I get that there's still going to be there's go-to scorers for the Washington Wizards, but it doesn't change anything. You don't push the narrative for a team like that ultimately is going to be better when you're off the floor. But he's still going to get paid like a number one guy there. He's going to get prioritized like a number one guy there, and he's still going to have the ball in his hands like a number one guy there. And I think ultimately, 27 years old, feeling like you didn't get to see it through like you wanted to with Atlanta, you still want to have the opportunity to go do something like that. You're probably getting told that the East is open. It's wide open for any team that can build something right now.
It's like not you, though, Wizards.
That's not you.
Not you.
You've drafted well. That's still not you. You guys need a star. You need a bona fide star, which you don't get unless you draft, and you haven't drafted that kind of player yet. Granted, that 2024 draft was weird. Sarr was, the Alex Sarr kid's improving. He's good. I like him. He's not a dog. He's not a number 2 type of pick, right? They aren't going to change much with the Trae Young, but ultimately he still gets to have all the things he wants in life. So that's why I kind of see it happening. His draft stock plummeted, though. That's what surprised me. An expiring CJ McCollum deal and a Corey Crispert is all that Trae Young went for. Just kind of crazy. Texter says here, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, who would you rather have as a franchise point guard? LaMelo Ball. He has more upside. He can defend a little bit more than Trae Young can, ultimately. I mean, the injuries are tough, but Trae Young's battled with some injuries too. I think ultimately, if you built the perfect team around them, the ceiling with the LaMelo Ball healthy led team is a little bit higher than
they're talk ballers.
They are.
They're not winning anything.
They are. They're dribble, sidestep, 40-footer.
LaMelo
But
Ball
they make
is
them
like
at a 40% rate, so they're in the NBA,
They're talented. I understand why they have like individual fan bases. I just don't think that they're going to win anything of consequence.
No, if you're not on path for that with the team that drafted you by like 23, 24 years old, it's definitely not happening with that team, and it's definitely typically not happening with you as a number one option when you're talking about guards. We've seen it. Shea's the first since Stephen Curry, the best shooter ever, to lead their team at that position. So, I mean, he needed to go somewhere else, but that's the NBA these days. But more importantly, there was like 4 game winners last night.
Yeah.
Paulo Banchero hit one quickly, which we don't like on this show. We don't like NBA players, but he hit a crazy one as well. Shea tied the game up to send it to OT. There was a lot of action in the NBA last night because players are putting on their, making things serious, putting on their serious hat.
Who was the Trailblazers Rockets game? Who was the
Kevin Durant? Didn't he hit one last night as well?
his didn't count.
Was that what happened?
Yeah, so they made one and it didn't count. So I think Portland ended up winning that. Yeah.
They did.
They took that one away.
Abdi had 41. He's going to win most improved player. Yeah, they took that away.
Steph and Giannis went at it shot for shot last night. I mean, the other question that I got to ask, and this is because the Twitter search function is completely useless anymore. You see like everybody talking about something with regards to like a celebrity or and you can never figure out why it is. It's just joke after joke after joke. what's going on with Zion now? Like, I just see people talking about like his issues with girls.
Every time something's happening with Zion, I can never know. Like, I never know if what I'm reading and what I'm getting access to is accurate information.
That's what I'm saying. I can't figure it out.
There's another one of those
prostitutes,
entrepreneur, social media-esque ladies that got involved with him. I mean, he's freaked out. That's the issue here.
That's freaked out.
Yes, he can't keep his paws off of this kind of stuff.
Okay, I'm glad you handled that well.
And he also seems like he keeps like getting into pregnancy scares with these women too, and that's outrageous because you're not dealing with someone you're going to want seriously, and you still keep getting into these moments where they have enough leverage to like try to reach out to the Pelicans and let them know that you're in debt to her for whatever reasons. It's he needs to get out of New Orleans. He doesn't. Zion Williamson does not need to be down south any longer.
Does he need a Baja Blast room?
Get him up to
is the question.
Get him up to like Boston or something. Like get him far away from there.
I saw someone say that Zion Williamson's basketball career has come down to prostitutes just being overweight and then blowing out his shoe in college.
I mean, yeah,
and crazy dunks when he's healthy.
I hate the fact that it's going to. It sounds like overshadow the season that he had at Duke because like that was one of the more remarkable seasons that I followed. Just because he was he was the third ranked player in that freshman class that they had with Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett, and he becomes like as much of a sensation at the college game as he was on social media when he was in high school. He was doing the same types of things to the best players in high school.
Living up to the hype.
He was crazy. I mean, he exceeded the hype.
He had one of the most crazy like high school mixtapes I've ever seen.
Oh my God. I mean, just to see somebody that size do those types of things. I remember saying it was like he was a cinder block bitten by a radioactive spider who then just had all these crazy like superhuman skill sets.
Yeah.
You don't see people like that move the way that he did and do the types of things that he was capable of doing. It was crazy. And I think that may wind up being the pinnacle of his basketball career when all is said and done, which sucks.
It's sad because every time he steps on the floor, I mean, other than a year and a half ago when he wasn't in shape for that time frame at all, like you heard what Stephen A. Smith, I saw a belly, all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's like the most efficient player on the floor every time he steps out on the floor. He's quote unquote unguardable still to this day when he is healthy, and it's a shame that talent's going to waste.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to put it. Seems a little bit self-inflicted, but injuries have also played a part. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Let's go back to your thoughts here. Texter says, this is Boxcar Bob. When U of L basketball makes me sad this season, at least I can rely on UK basketball to cheer me up. And my God, some of those callers on TJ's postgame show are unhinged. They're so angry that some of them can't form coherent sentences, which really isn't that surprising for some of their fan base. It's hilarious how many of them can't help but trash talk U of L and Kelsey, specifically his height during their rants, because they are just so angry they don't even know where to focus their anger. I really hope Pope gets a third year.
Did you guys see the guy at the Louisville Duke game with the T-shirt with the AI image of Pat Kelsey holding Mark Pope on it?
Yes.
I loved it.
It's a hero right there. It was just, they should sell those things.
So during the Kentucky shows, like at noon and in the morning, there's a texter by the local John.
Okay.
So he is basically Kentucky's version of, what's his name? The really positive older shows.
Like Papa J?
Yes, they're Papa J. Okay. He's always super hyper positive, like you guys of your show. I think the Kentucky Wildcats are going to be. He's always super positive, and apparently he got and just like lost it.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Like, I came in this morning and Scoots was talking about. He's like, dude, I was depressed about what local John was saying last night. He really made me feel like there's all hope is lost.
When you've lost local John,
we need to give a little more respect to Papa J though, because local John's like. I mean, like that's the first I've ever heard of him saying anything negative at all. I mean, they'll lose and he'll come in the next day and be like, "We'll get him the next time, boys. We'll be all good. We've got everything we need." He is. I didn't know he could see any negatives with anything UK.
I think everybody has that one friend, whether we're talking about sports or life events or whatever, who when you lose them, you're like, "Oh God!" Like there's that one person you know, when they've got bad things to say about Jeff Brom or whatever, you're like, okay, now I know it's really serious. Now I'm concerned about the entire landscape of whatever this is that we're talking about. And it sounds like for UK, local John's that guy.
There's this, Holly and I have this kind of situation like that happening. She has this old friend of hers, not even friend. Like, you know, you add people on, when you're in middle school and high school, you add people on social media, even if you're not really necessarily even like acquainted, just because you're in the same school and you know each other's name. There's this guy that she added in.
God, I'm so glad I never had to deal with that.
On Facebook in high school. They were never even friends. They had a couple classes together and whatnot. He is like full on, all he posts is U of L. He'll go live on Facebook. He'll post videos of him talking about U of L basketball, U of L football. Brom needs to do this. I don't know about that. He's finally gone and switched over to like, I don't know what we're going to do without Michael. It's not looking good. And he's finally starting to say those negative things. And that's when you know that it's gotten to that point.
When you've lost that guy.
It's like whenever your really funny friend stops joking and you're like, oh, something's actually wrong.
Yeah, like that. Now I'm starting to take politics seriously. we may not be okay as a country if Dan's not firing off those jokes. Texter says, I don't know if you saw Josh Tropics G's post, but was that a hint at Richardson by chance? I have no idea what any of this means.
No idea.
Richardson?
Trey Richardson, maybe? The
Vanderbilt wide receiver. I mean, he was just coming on campus today, or yesterday, but I think he's got more visits scheduled. I mean, if we landed him, that's one of the fastest players in college football. That's one of the biggest game breakers in college football. That would be a huge get. I did not see the tweet. Josh Tropics.
Who's the guard for Vandy basketball that went crazy last night?
Tyler Tanner.
He's a bucket getter.
He's ridiculous.
Just named him as a third-team midseason All-American today. If you want to check out the post over at destination.com. He's very good.
I hadn't watched a lot of Vanderbilt basketball this year.
Me neither.
That was like last night was my first like real sit down and like analyze their game
because they hadn't played anybody.
Yeah, watching him made me miss Michael Brown Jr. I was like, this is what a really great like young guard can be for like because I feel like he adds to Vanderbilt what Michael adds to us. And he's
very, very good.
One thing he kept doing last night.
They've got Duke Miles too, who we played last year, who's a super that's who we needed with Michael. Duke Miles can score a little bit, but remember we played him last year in the Atlantis championship game. He was playing for Oklahoma. He's a 6'2" pit bull lockdown defender. That's what we're missing alongside that type of player in the backcourt.
He's the one that averages like 3 steals a game, right?
Yes.
He fouled out yesterday? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
The Tyler Tanner kid last night, he would pick the ball up like at the elbow, like near the free throw line on his drives to take his first step, and his second step's coming outside of the like way outside of the cylinder. Why don't we do that? Why don't Adrian Woolley and Ryan Connell need to be taught? Hey, when you've got that momentum, just pick the ball up and go up with it and see what you can make happen. It's like we feel like we need that perfect, nice, clean pathway to the rim to go up with it sometimes, and we don't get that, and we're not prepared for it, and we miss these layups. Go up about a step sooner. Buy into that kind of floater aspect of finishing because we create those lanes and we don't take them. That Tyler Tanner kid, every time he got past his man, pick the ball up, go up to the rim. I mean, wherever he was at.
He also doesn't shoot it as well.
I noticed that too. Guys, but he wasn't really a threat to shoot. They were kind of sagging off on him, and he's too quick. So it's like, you're sagging off on somebody who you're basically saying, here is your first step.
He gets the free throw line a bunch. 29 points last night, 7 assists, 4 steals. He is outrageously good.
Finishing with both hands was elite.
Now, Vandy, the computers love him, but they had this big resume gap going into last night's game where they're undefeated, but they haven't really beaten anybody of any sort of consequence. I love what team social media accounts are doing these days. It does we've officially taken off any restraints on the social media accounts. Like last night, they win, they post the score and they're like, they ain't played nobody. They're going all in on the joke, but they looked awfully good last night. Picked them to win that game. I still like Alabama. I still think Alabama's a good team, but Mark Byington, if I'm Kentucky, I'm like, that's the guy that I want next.
You're buying into Byington?
I tweeted out last year. I mean, he was incredibly good at James Madison. He was great at Georgia Southern, I think, before that. And, I mean, last year, there was no talent on that Vandy team, and he takes them to the NCAA tournament. They won 21 games or something like that last season. Like, they have no business being this good this year either. Like, they have not invested a ton into basketball the way that they have in football. and yet here they are, 15-0 and looking like the real deal. I don't know if they're a legit national title contender, but they're awfully good.
This is my hey Mike, do you know more about college basketball than I do? Do you have any inside idea? What is going on with LeBaron Philon and Nate Oates after last game?
Super weird. So last night, Philon's been, I had him as an All-American today too. He's been really, really good, but he only played 19 minutes last night. And then Nate Oates in the post-game press conference goes, yeah, he was cramping. I don't know how you have body cramps when you only play 19 minutes, but whatever. And kind of implying that there's something else going on there, that he's not giving it his all and all this stuff. It was super, super strange. Right in, not as weird. Hands is the weirdest stuff.
He's just coming out
So we'll come back in.
The play on where they're down by 9. He motions over to the bench that he wants to come pass to him. He doesn't see it. It goes almost off his head and out of bounds. The crowd kind of starts booing a little bit. If they hadn't miraculously come back and won that game, that's a play that everybody's talking about a lot more and kind of goes down in lore. And then
Didn't he come back in with 5
seconds left?
He made the winning free throws, didn't he?
The tying free throws.
Tying free throws.
He with 5 seconds left, they're down by 3. They get the ball back because TCU has just completely crapped the game away. He's like, I'm good. Bring me back in. He gets fouled in the three-point attempt, makes all 3 free throws, comes right back out, doesn't play in overtime at all, and they win the game. And Bill Self is just kind of like, I'm playing him. And he's got to come out. He's got to come out. And he comes out.
To me, the Darren Pearson situation is so far gone. If I'm Bill Self, what's going to happen if you just leave him in when he wants to come out? Is he just going to stand there on the court and just pretend like he's just not going to play? He's just
starts stretching.
He's just going to
doing nothing.
It's like the kid in the outfield picking grass in their t-ball game.
I have no idea.
He's going to go to the ground, start asking for the trainer to come over.
The whole thing is very, very, very strange.
Yeah, that's a weird thing where he's literally too good for Bill Self to have any control. That's the first overall, second, third overall pick.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change that other than a major injury. Nothing you can do can change that.
No.
So you're just going to take what you can get from him.
But LeBaron Philon,
the Philon thing's weird.
I'm sitting here thinking back of what could be going on in Alabama that he just doesn't want to play. That's a Final Four contending basketball team right now.
That was a big game for them last night. One thing chance to win. Yeah, that's it. You can't really. The quote doesn't hit as hard as it does when you see the video and how kind of why he's getting full body cramps with only playing 19 minutes. But that's what he had going on. And then just kind of shrugs his shoulders and moves on. It's very, very weird. Maybe you
don't say that as a coach.
No, you don't.
I agree with him, though.
I think Oates is kind of like Rick in that he gets caught up in the moment and he says stuff. He says whatever's on his mind immediately after game. He's the guy that you got to take the phone away during games. Because he'd be tweeting I hate this team so much. They got to fire this guy. He is very reactionary in post-game press conferences. I'm sure he probably regrets that today, whether there's some truth to it or not. But that whole thing is very strange. And Philon's situation is clearly very different than even Michael Brown's situation. You're not talking about a bona fide, can't miss, top 10, top 5 freshman. He's already established himself. He's going to be a high draft pick, I think. But he's more of a talent. I don't know. Exercise of listening to one of my favorite parts last night, besides all of the Pope needs to go talk. Kelsey, worry about your own team. I can't read that word. I'll say D-bags. It's not even what it said. But apparently that was a thing. I didn't get a chance to listen to these shows. I didn't realize Kentucky fans were working in Pat Kelsey slurs to their rants against their own head coach, but that's cool.
We all need an outlet.
I guess so. That's something. Texas shout out to the sports books that had UK as a 13.5-point favorite for no basketball reasons whatsoever last night. Cashing my hate wager, paid my credit card bill. Mizzou money line straight baby, haha. They said Quaintance was going to save the day. I love it. Pope is done after the season. I don't see a world where anything other than strictly financial reasons that he'll get another year down there. They are dreadful, and the team doesn't even care. Okay, best case scenario. They fire Mark Pope. and they're like, all right, they do the whole routine again where it's like, we're going to get Dan Hurley. We're going to get, and they end up with just like North Carolina A&T's head coach, and he ends up being even worse. Like somebody not attached to the program whatsoever. They bring in Cameron Mills to
Mick is the pick
to coach. Mick gets fired by UCLA and they end up having to bring in Mick Cronin to coach the team, and he just physically fist fights every member of the fan base after every loss next season. That could be great. What if they brought back Calipari?
oh gosh.
I did love. I mean, I kind of felt bad for Matt, but the amount of people that were posting the clip of him thanking the Tyson Chicken people
I've seen
night,
it 100.
everywhere.
I even texted you and Roman the other day. I was like, it's everywhere on my timeline. I keep watching
everywhere.
it.
Yeah, he's like, "Thank you, Tyson Chicken. You guys given me 2 gifts." I mean, it's just be careful. You're gonna make those types of declarations. I mean, we did it a lot when Cincinnati took Scott Satterfield. You better end up being right, or it's going to get thrown back in your face.
Marquette
for sure.
was 6.5-point favorites over Xavier last night for no basketball reasons whatsoever either. Made some money on that.
Those 2 teams stink.
I'm fading Marquette all year long, though.
They're bad.
Miami made me some money last night as well.
Well, I mean, Marquette, they still won the game last night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but
Xavier covered.
yeah, 7.5.
7.5's a lot. That would be one where I'm like
6 right before the game time, but
those 2 teams stink so bad. I would just stay away. I feel Richard does not have. He's got nobody on that team. And part of that's his own fault. He got the job early enough to try to fill the roster, but
just so he could play against his dad.
They got nobody. Marquette is the shining example of you can't just completely ignore the portal. Like Shaka got praised a lot the last couple of years because he's like, ooh, they're bringing back all the roster retention, all the culture continuity. And
they have one good player.
And when you graduate all your good players and you don't bring anybody in the portal, it's like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to suck this year. They are terrible. They are very, very bad.
Yeah, they are.
I think that snapped like a 7-game losing streak for them last night. That was bad.
Miami's not bad.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. They're doing this thing with the Field of 68 where they're asking the coaches in the conference to like rank the best jobs in the league from best to worst. They did the ACC at the beginning, and I thought the ACC's rankings were
I saw fair. A quote about the Louisville job when they did this.
What was the quote?
Well, I don't remember. I'm just saying I saw them quoting somebody saying something about crazy that Louisville can go through what they did the last 2 years, and it's still one of the top jobs in the conference. Anonymous ACC coach or something.
Yeah, I mean, they had us behind Duke and UNC, and I'm fine with that. You can make claims for, I guess, we're in a bigger city than Raleigh, than Durham or Chapel Hill or whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, Duke and UNC, if we're just being honest, historically are more successful overall programs in the landscape of college basketball than we've been. There's no shame in that. There's probably like 1 or 2 other programs that can compete with either one.
And their current brands and the way they stand there.
For sure. Like I did love that every single coach voted Boston College is the worst job in the league. I was like, it was bad. But they did the Big East yesterday. And I was trying, Jeff Goodman puts it out there. And he's like, guess how the voting ended up stacking up. And I was pretty close.
UConn first.
See, I went with Nova first. I was going to ask you guys.
What?
Are you? I feel like
there's the expectation.
I feel like there's a recency bias where because they've won 2 of the last 3 national titles. I mean, there have been years where like UConn was just kind of off the face of the earth. Like Kevin Ollie tanked the program a little bit, and I think we've kind of forgotten how good of a job Villanova is. I mean, Villanova pulled away Maryland's head coach when they were in the middle of their best NCAA tournament run in a couple of decades.
Yeah,
but like every single coach was on your side. They got, not only was UConn ranked as the best job, every single head coach had them at number 1.
Well,
I was a little surprised by that.
The national eyes completely changed with that in that sense. You got to think about what people my age think. They don't care about Villanova anymore.
Where was Syracuse in that list?
Villanova won a national title in 7 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. We're not talking about like IU basketball.
Bill Murray was there
when Luke Murray was there, and then Luke Murray came here, and Bill Murray came here as well.
Repeated though.
They did.
That changes how you get viewed massively.
I mean, I agree, but like I don't think it's that much of a like Villanova was in the Final Four in 2022, like when Jay Wright abruptly retired. Yep. They got their ass handed. Like they've had 2 bad seasons the last 2 years, and that's it. My hunch is that UConn, I guess, has more NIL money than Nova does.
Well, I was about to say that I think maybe that you're probably adding a lot of like what the brand's history means for what the job is on top of what the current 2026 viewpoint of the team is.
Right. And maybe that's the issue because they've got programs that have less history. Like they had St. John's, I think it's 5th or 6th.
That's not that.
And that has to be kind of like they basically were like, take Rick Pitino out of there. It's just not a good job. Like Creighton's got NIL money. It's not historically as successful, but they were like 3rd or something along those lines. It was just an interesting layout. I think Marquette actually was the 3rd program that they had there. Anyway, I will take a break. When we come back, speaking of national coaches and grades and all this good stuff, CBS has an interesting story grading the college hires of the last 2-year cycle, which includes obviously the Pat Kelsey hire, the Dusty May hire, the Mark Pope hire. We'll tell you what they said about Louisville, what they said about some of these other programs after the break, and then we'll get back to the text line. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 Big X.
Kick 'em all around.
It's the third hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, Thursday edition, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Quick update from Coral Gables, the Louisville women's basketball team. Big time third quarter after trailing at the half. They outscore Miami 27-12 in the third quarter. They're going to the fourth quarter right now with a 60-47 lead over the Hurricanes. I mean, I can't even imagine. Miami sports fans, they're just, this ruins your whole day if you lose this game. The afternoon, it's already over. You don't even care about the football game. You're done. I can't. It's the only thing they're focused on right now down there is this women's basketball team trying to upset Louisville, and it looks like that upset is slipping away from them. Hopefully, Jeff Walls and company can put the clamps on this one and ride out what I believe would be their seventh consecutive victory and remain unbeaten in ACC play. We'll keep you updated on that front. We've also got, I didn't mention this. This was the one thing that I had on my list that I forgot to get to. For all you St. X fans out there, the TJ Walkers of the world, you have a new head football coach at St. X, which, best of luck to you. You're never going to be Trinity. You try, but it doesn't work. They brought in Brian Landis, who was the head coach a few years ago at Frederick Douglass in Lexington, built them into a powerhouse. He went to the state of Georgia this past year to coach Alpharetta High School. Kind of had heard through the grapevine. He was like, I want to go places where they actually pay high school coaches big time money. The only two schools that are kind of doing that here locally, there's probably three: Christian Academy, Trinity, and St. X. So he lands one of those jobs, very highly touted. Led Frederick Douglass to the state final, was an assistant coach at Georgetown, EKU, UK, Georgia State, and West Georgia, and becomes the 20th head coach in St. X football history. Best of luck to him. You're not taking down Trinity. It just doesn't work that way. It's my very rare Glory Days rivalrying that we'll do here on the show. Also here locally, the first Great 16 media poll for both boys and girls basketball came out today. Male, the number one team in the state, after their King of the Bluegrass triumph. They'll now go into the LIT, look to repeat there. And Assumption on the girls' side. You're used to seeing Sacred Heart at the top of those lists. Assumption is the number one team in the state right now on the girls' side. LIC is going to be a lot of fun. You got three really good, strong teams in the 7th region in male St. X, and then Ballard with Cole Edlin, who just got back with the program, just got cleared. And then I think Trinity also just got Jaden Johnson back, who had transferred and come back. It's so, keeping up with transfers in high school basketball is there's a limit. That's what I'm not going to keep track of it. If I see it, I'll remember it. I'm not going to actively seek out who's transferring from what high school to the next and who's going to a prep school and then coming back in the month of January and February. But it seems like there are three really, really good teams in the 7th region and maybe a couple others who could get better over these couple of months. There was a story today. By the way, we're here. Producer Matt Childress is in the house. Roman Kelly, as always, in the house. There was a story today that got published on CBSSports.com by Isaac Trotter, who's a really good up-and-coming college basketball writer. And he said, we're going to go back and we're going to look that the coaching carousel cycle in the spring of 2024 was utterly absurd. You had a handful of the biggest jobs in the sport opening up. You had the crazy drama where John Calipari unexpectedly jumped ship late in the game for Arkansas. And he was like, let's go ahead and let's look at it at the midway point of year 2 for all these coaches, how we grade them, what the vibe is, and who we think of the winners and the losers are so far. So he started with Arkansas, and he said, Calipari got him to Sweet 16 last year, and all of a sudden they look like maybe one of the best teams in the SEC. He gave them an early grade of an A- for hiring John Calipari at Arkansas. Too high, too low. What do you get? There you go.
I think it's about A-.
I do. Roman?
I think it's
If you take into consideration who Arkansas kind of they'd have, but it seemed like that had kind of run its course. Arkansas doesn't have yet. If you can look at a program that goes to a Sweet 16 as it's in, looks like they've taken a step towards being a Final Four contender. I feel like that's a pretty good progression for them. BYU hired Kevin Young. They brought him in to replace Mark Pope, who went for to Kentucky. Had a good season last year. They're having a very good season this year. They're bringing in the level of talent that you don't typically see go to Provo, Utah. He gave them, and he gave Kevin Young a solid A so far. What do we think?
A+. A++.
I think that's, if you're leaning towards like A is not right, I'm more A+ than I am A-. It's BYU, for God's sake. They've never been to a Final Four.
I feel like he's done as good as he could do with the time he's had there so far.
Sure.
Like I wouldn't. Anything better would be he just went out and won a national championship last year.
Yeah, for sure. They gave Chris Holtman and DePaul a C. I would have him as an A-. I'm just saying.
Didn't they win after Holden? Who they played a 1-20? Georgetown
the other night.
1 for 23 in the second half.
I mean, either they. I would almost like make up a lie and say that they were throwing the game, as opposed like that would be more acceptable than going 1 out of 23 when you were trying your best against DePaul. Like that's bad, but they are still not very good. Okay, now they get to Kentucky and Mark Pope. Here's what he says for vibe check. Mark Pope knows what makes Kentucky basketball tick, so he knows that this isn't the standard. Kentucky is 17-18 against high major teams under his leadership. 24 wins and a Sweet 16 appearance a year ago formed a promising start. But Pope said this, quote, "We should be the best at everything." Right now, Kentucky is just average on the floor despite having hordes of cash. The Wildcats still have enough runway to make the tournament, but the evidence is mounting both on the floor and on the recruiting trail that this marriage isn't on a national championship trajectory. How does Kentucky not find a way to land any of these freshman sensations like A.J. DeBonsa, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson, or Darren Peterson? Kentucky seems to have lost its way. Early grade, D. Too harsh or just right?
I think not harsh enough.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could lean D-.
I mean, like when he asks how they not land these people, JMI isn't letting them. These dudes are coming in with Adidas and Nike deals, and JMI's like, can't have that. We got to pay you $7 million ourselves.
Are we sure that that's what's happening?
That's when Jacob Polachek and Jack Pilgrim, what they were laying out was essentially JMI doesn't allow them to have outside deals of brands that JMI is not over.
Then what's the point of having JMI?
No,
They just have so much money, and
But they're not getting you any players.
the point of it was essentially it's great if you're not a top 10 player in the country because you don't have to worry about going and finding your own deals. Whatever money you're going to get out there, JMI will just pay you directly.
I mean, bragging about spending a lot of money for crap products seems, who wants to be like, yeah, you like my new 12-inch TV? Paid $1,600 for it. It's like, well, that seems like you misspent your money.
and it can't have any apps.
Yeah. It shows basic cable.
This is like at least from what they wrote, JMI seems like the best deal in the world if you are a role player to like maybe a top 75 athlete.
That seems
like you're like
the worst deal possible for a fan.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to go out there and get those hefty like brand deals that are going to carry into your NBA career. You're just coming to college. You just want to get a check and play ball. JMI's perfect for that.
Like Miller Moss wasn't great last year. Yeah, but you know what? We made him the highest paid quarterback in college football. It's not something to brag about. Gave him $8 million to go out there and go 8-4.
I compared it to, imagine if they were like, this was going on when LeBron was coming out of high school and Kentucky was like, you can't have your Nike deal.
Yeah, that makes
but
no
you
sense
can come
whatsoever.
play basketball for us.
It's like saying the Yankees have the most money to spend in MLB, but they're not allowed to sign any top 50 players in the sport. What's the point? Why this money does nothing for us. We're going to spend it on crap. It makes us look worse.
Because these players always 5 with them, they would get to the end. They would get to the table meeting of basically like, okay, our package. Look, and Mark Pope would like get angry because he'd be like mad as basketball. Then it would be like us actually have to just basically cut down all the bridges I've already.
Very, very silly. Did you see the quote that was getting tossed last night by UK folks from October? Tyler Thompson, not the UNC football player, but the KSR writer. She had a story that was prefaced with this tweet. How well is Kentucky basketball set up for success this season and beyond with revenue sharing? Mark Pope quote, right now, we feel like we've got a beautiful Ferrari and we can't wait to take it for a spin.
I've just seen like a bunch of tweets of people just like it's just crashing car gifs, and it's like this must be the Ferrari he's talking about.
The more Mark Pope talks, the more he reminds me of Michael Scott from The Office. Just like everything he says, like, and I'm gonna go take this baby I'm gonna go get me a New York slice. It's like I don't think this guy is the proper fit for any major college basketball program, let alone UK. This seems off. Okay, the CBS story. Pat Kelsey's up next. They said vibe check. Kelsey has quickly changed the tenor in Louisville from laughingstock back to ACC contender. Last year's 21-1 heater that solidified the Cardinals' place as an NCAA tournament team was awfully fun, but this season is all about competing for a title. That's the standard and the expectation after constructing a Michael Brown Jr., Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, Adrian Woolley backcourt that would make any coach envious. Kelsey has done yeoman's work of giving this program a facelift, but it's a bit frustrating that Louisville hasn't been able to knock Duke off its perch yet. Kelsey is also just 7-10 against top 50 teams in his Louisville tenure. Unfair or not, March will have a major say on Kelsey's perception entering year 3. Early grade, A-.
Excluding Duke recency bias, I think A- is fair.
Yeah, I wonder, because my mind immediately says I lean more towards like B+ at this point. And I wonder if that's just because we're still kind of all processing he's not winning the big games and the Duke embarrassment and all this stuff. I also think I'd be more willing to say Isaac Trotter of CBS. I think I'd be more willing to say I'm on board with A- if he was doing this like 10 years ago, where it was more about player development and, like let's just be real. We turned this thing in the snap of a finger in large part because we had more money to spend on our roster than 97, 98% of programs in college basketball last year. Like that was, don't get me wrong, Kelsey did a phenomenal job, but if you don't go out there and you get Chucky Hepburn and Terrence Edwards and all of those guys, if you don't have that ability and they're immediately eligible, we all just kind of accept that we're going to be terrible again last season. So I think if we had gone 26-7 last year and it was 2012 rules, I like hell A+. A little bit different, but I feel like
I mean, I get the circumstances. I think that win basketball or anything like that. So that kind of makes me like kind of even question the quote about the expectation change going into this season.
See, to me, last year, my primary goal is if he gets us to the NCAA tournament, I don't care how it happens. Like that's wildly successful season. Year 2 should be about getting back in we're competing for championships. We're competing to be a legitimate Final Four national title contender. And I'm not sure that we're there right now.
I mean, my expectation for year 2. Even
what was your expectation for year 2?
Winning tournament games, doing something you've never done as a coach.
Well, I think that's a goal too. If we go one and done in the tournament, I'm going to be pretty pissed off, and I'm going to say this was a disappointing season. At the end of the day, I think Isaac's right.
But if we go 2 and done, he's gotten over a small hump that he had never gotten over before, that we haven't, as fans, gotten us to see in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to poo-poo a Sweet 16 run this year. But obviously, I want more.
I didn't look at last year, watch him construct a roster better, but still not like one that's top notch, and think that, okay, we should be competing now for titles in year 2 when he didn't even beat a contending team in year 1.
Yeah, but again, it's almost an entirely new roster. I don't think you can view things through the lens that we were viewing them 10 years ago, where it was like we're bringing back basically the same team, and you bring in some freshmen, and let's see how he develops, and let's see what step forwards we take. Like we were a preseason top 15, top 10 team for a reason.
Yeah,
but the roster.
The expectation for me, though, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that I never, even with this roster, felt like this was a title-winning team. This was a team that should be able to score 90 points on a lot of their opponents, if not most of their opponents, and should be able to play a fun brand of basketball and win majority of their games. But I didn't see this roster and think, oh yeah, we're up there with the Dukes, with the Houstons, with the UConn.
Well, so then why are you lower than Matt and I? Why are you saying B-?
Okay, so Is it a grade over just how based on my expectation over what he's done?
It's a grade on like what grade are you giving Louisville for hiring Pat Kelsey after a year and a half?
Yeah, about a B. I mean, he hasn't gotten you anywhere that you haven't already been. So
I think I'm flirting around B plus A minus, and not like I agree with everything Roman said that he doesn't have the signature win. You know, there's a lot of questions as with he doesn't make these adjustments at halftime a lot, and we're seeing like a regression this season from last season in terms of we thought that Pat Kelsey was like this genius out of timeouts, out of halftime, out of dead balls, and we just haven't seen that this year.
We haven't, right?
Which has been really weird. I get that you have a lot more talent, but for me, it's I grade it on.
We also knew he didn't bring in an elite defender. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Like, we watched him not bring in a good defender this season.
That's true. I'm grading it on the fact that not only was this because of Kenny Payne and all this in such a bad situation, but the fan base. Like, he completely reinvigorated the town and the fan base and the economy of downtown Louisville to bring, like, when I was at the Duke, like going to the Duke game, we were down there on the street. I was helping the state of Louisville guys out, do a pregame stuff. And the streets are packed.
Yeah.
Every restaurant, every bar is packed, full. And like, I hadn't seen that in a long time. Now, I know that that's not what they're grading on. I know that they're grading on like efficiency and the offensive defensive ratings and their success they've had on the court. But for me, like if I'm thinking is like just as my Louisville fan self, I give them a B plus A minus just for bringing the love of college basketball back to the city again.
Yeah, that's where I am too. I think for all those reasons, I think that's a fair grade. Now,
I think about what other coaches would have done with 97% more resources than any other college basketball team. Would their last year and a half look like this?
Like who?
I'm just thinking other names, other coaches that have won these big games already, and that span of time as a new coach in their new program.
So you're still sticking with? I mean, you're still right around the same area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's significantly different. I just think that there's reasons he could have gotten us up to a higher grade. In my opinion, he could have earned a higher grade that he didn't take those opportunities.
Okay, I want to ask you this question then, Roman. Excluding the obvious question of Dusty May, excluding Dusty May, who's just ridiculous right now, do you think Scott Drew would have an exceptional amount more success than Pat Kelsey's had so far?
With the same amount of money, I mean,
he's not doing much at Baylor right now.
Yeah, with probably similar money, not as much, but
like Chris Beard.
Yes.
No, I don't know about that. He took our players. And they
showed last year those kinds of.
I like the brand of basketball
right now. I think he's a good coach. You can't just go back that they are. I mean, they're what 70th right now on Ken Pom. They're 8-7 by 14. Utah, who's terrible, beat them. Miami thumped them. St. John's thumped them. Like they're not good. He's done a bad job. I mean, I think you're gonna see every head coach have a season like this where there's a roster of guys that are just there for like the wrong reasons or that just the pieces just don't fit, and it doesn't work. And I think Chris Beard's going through that right now. Now, if you're looking at the grades, only 2 coaches from this cycle got an A+ in this story, and I think that they're the 2 that stand out more than anybody. Mark Byington, who we just talked about at Vandy, and then I mean, you mentioned the other one, Dusty May at Michigan. I mean, we can't really push back too hard against that, can we?
They're ridiculous.
This is going to be a thing for Pat Kelsey. I mean, I think a lot of people, and Josh Hurd, we talked about it yesterday, because there was this talk about, Louisville's they've got their man in Dusty May, let's celebrate, and then that same day, Dusty May is like, well, I'm going to Michigan, and then we get Pat Kelsey less than 24. Are going to be linked for the entirety of their
side
coaching
by
career.
side is always going to be compared.
I don't know if like Michigan's doing that as much as Michigan's just talking about like football recruiting right now. Like I don't know if they're doing as much of the like, what if we'd gotten Pat Kelsey? Because Pat Kelsey was never a rumored candidate for them. But we here locally absolutely will do this. I mean, you see it after every loss, people being like, Josh Hurd sucks because he missed his chance with Dusty May. But we will kind of be paying attention to Michigan, I think, for that reason from now until eternity. And if we're being just blunt, right now, early returns for Michigan, a little bit better than early returns for Louisville.
Big reason why Dusty May didn't want this kind of job.
You're not wrong. Like he loves the hey, pay attention to the portal, guys. Let's go. Let's see what Coach Whittingham's got in store for us as they go out there and thump another ranked team by 35 points. Although they almost got beat. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? They damn near lost to Penn State.
I think it was 2 nights ago.
I think you're right. I think it was the same night we lost.
Kind of get robbed a little bit in that game.
Did they? See, I didn't get a chance to watch any of that game. I just saw the final score.
I read something like that.
Probably. They probably got robbed. But Michigan, very good right now.
Little come to Jesus moment.
Maybe. Let's go to the apparently a lot of people got it's so funny you brought up the same thing. We have like 4 straight tweets. Have you seen this Dan Hurley out for the season?
Yeah.
It is a troll account.
Okay, that's
out there putting something out. Yeah. No, he's not. They're not going to suspend him for the year for yelling at refs. It's not going to happen, but it would be funny. It would be interesting. Yes, we're aware of the YouTube stream. We're sorry. We're doing the best we can. We'll figure it out. Couple texts here to get to today. Texas, where's the CC podcast? We were supposed to record one at noon today. It's actually, I don't know if I can actually. Dan had a reason why he couldn't do it today. We will try to record.
He's always got a reason.
He does, or I do. He's got a valid reason today. We're going to try to get one done tonight. If not tonight, then we'll figure out when. I don't know. Texture says, Riddler here. Mike, you bummed me out yesterday. I gave you a softball and you whiffed on it until the text line bailed you out. They did. Lamar was the answer. Was hoping the softball riddle would pick up your spirits. Glad you sound better today. I listened to the PK radio show with Paul Rogers, and I feel encouraged. They understand the gravity. He knows the defense sucks. And after all of this, just remember that it could be worse. We could be UK with Mark Poop. They've got to fire that dude tomorrow. Too bad. I love it, Mark Poop. I knew he was going to get one of us. I almost laughed. You got Roman. Too bad he's not a raging drunk. They'll have to fire him for the good old-fashioned way. This is what you get for running Cal out of town. Now stew in it. Enjoy obscurity for a decade. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can dream. I don't want to do the whole, like, things are bad, but it could be worse. We could be UK. No, I want to be like, I want to be way better than UK. I don't want to be like mildly, we're 25th in the polls, but they're unranked. I want to compete for a national title this year. I want to compete for a Final Four. I want to be up there with Duke, trying to chase down a regular season title. Got these 3 weeks. Got to get it figured out. I do think, though, listening to Pat after the game on Tuesday, listening to him last night on his coach's show, you're exactly right. He fully recognizes the gravity of the situation. The players seem to fully recognize the gravity of the situation. This is, I think, without question, the make or break moment for the season. This is the fork in the road moment in the season.
How do you respond, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, this is the time. Like, if it's going to happen this year, it's going to happen in these next 3 weeks. And we're going to hit our stride, and we're going to be a team to be reckoned with down the stretch. If it doesn't, then that's who we are. And best we can hope for is, like everybody else, few breaks in the tournament, get a good draw, make a billion shots, and hope to win a couple games.
If he understands the gravity and knows the defense sucks, though, I'm interested to see what he does differently when things go into a miniature collapse within a game.
Same. But, look, this is you kind of have your only guess and check game in the ACC coming up this weekend with Boston College. If you want to experiment with some stuff in an actual live ball in-game situation, this is the time to do it.
It's like the only team you can really do it against.
That's what I'm saying. This is your only chance to kind of like get, like, if you've ever thought about playing a zone and you're not sure your guys can do it, try it out against Boston College. Like, they are our experimental rat. Like they're our lab rat to go out there and just see what works and not feel like you put yourself in danger of losing a game that would crush you. I mean, I think also, if Michael is saying that he's good to go, but you're worried about throwing him out there because of the rust or whatever, like, play him a little bit off the bench in this game against BC. Because guess what? We need him against Virginia. Virginia is a team that is fully capable of coming in here and knocking us off in a loss that would be much harder to stomach for our resume than the Duke one. Like, we're going to need him to be fully 100%. Play him for like 10 minutes against Boston College off the bench in spot duty just to get his feet back underneath him, just to get him back into the flow of what we're trying to do, and then have him be a full go for the Virginia game on Tuesday. That would be what I would do. If he's still dealing with the back thing, then I guess there's only so much you can do. Texture says, any chance we get those losses to Tennessee and Stanford and Duke thrown out if we get Michael back and go on a run? If we can pump the narrative enough that we didn't have our star, I feel like those losses won't hurt our seed line as bad. Michael also needs to come back, but I'm just spitballing. I mean, this isn't I haven't really thought about this, but this is something that the committee says it takes into consideration in specific cases. Like it doesn't just excuse losses, but if Mike Kell comes back and we're a different team down the stretch, like
name a game changer.
Yeah, let's say we beat Duke, and at the end of the day, we're being weighed against some other team for like a 3 seed, like the last 3 seed, and you feel like it's an apples to apples comparison. Maybe they've got a slightly better resume or slightly fewer losses or whatever, but you look at it and you say, man, they didn't have Michael Brown for 3 of their 4 losses, and look at what they've done since they've gotten him back. They're a completely different team. They beat that same Duke team that beat them on their home floor in Cameron Indoor with Michael Brown. The committee has done that in years past where they've said, like, we took that into consideration and we seeded them higher because now they've got him, and some of these losses that hurt their resume, they didn't have him for those games. So that is something that we could potentially have weighing in our favor down the stretch. But we got to get him back. He's got to play well, too. Back's got to be okay. Let's take a break. When we come back, more texts from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line. We'll run through those, and then we'll make some predictions for the night ahead in sports, and then we'll hand things off to Roman Kelly and the Ticket Punchers. It's the Mike Rutherford Show. Wrapping up next here on the Big X.
Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way.
Final segment of the Thursday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. If you've been injured in an accident or on the job recently and you need some help, the Call Your Law Firm has your back. Hit them up today at 502-736-81 or online call law firm. So attorneys have been working for the insurance defense companies. They know they know how to get you the most money for your recovery. Keep that money by starting their returns at just 25%, not 45 or 50 like some of the firms. Call your YERlawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident or hurt on the job. Call your law firm. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month for the final month of the regular season. He was on Pardon My Take yesterday, I think, and I've seen some of the clips. The best part of the interview was he addressed the clip that everybody who wanted to downgrade how good he was shared throughout the draft process of him throwing that weird like sidearm thing at the combine where it went away. And it got brought up on the interview. And he said it was a dare from one of the coaches that was at the combines. And he said, quote, F it, why not? I'll try it out. Imagine if that had tanked his career. Like, people were trying to use that to justify not taking him in the first or the second round, that 1 5-second clip. And it was because it was a coach who thought it would be funny to see if he could do it. Interesting arm angle, throwing it weird. And he just, had a terrible throw. Thankfully, the Saints saw through that. They recognized that he was a talent worth taking in the middle of the second round.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and now
they dare. Come on, Tyler.
Also, who was that coach? What are you doing? You're messing with this man's money. Leave him alone. Yeah, Tyler should
coach for the Browns or something.
It was Liam Cohen.
Probably Liam Cohen. I mean, Tyler's also like 38 years old. He should probably know better. You know what you're getting into. But the whole interview is very funny. He comes off as very endearing. It's our guy. That's our dude right there. Tyler Shuck. Roman Saints, they're in good hands moving forward.
Yep, they're saying they're going to announce him as the starter going forward. So
I would hope. I would hope they. If they did,
I'd
be a little bit pissed off.
I wasn't sure.
They're like, we're bringing Spencer back for a competition. It's open competition for next season.
Spencer Rattler's having to shuck off.
Spencer, get the shuck out of here, Spence. It's done. It's over. Stop this. We've got about 20 minutes here left on the show. We're going to run through the text line and get to as many of these as we can, and then make some predictions for the night ahead in sports, which includes a decent college basketball slate, a decent NBA slate, and some other stuff going on. By the way, it is a final from Miami. The Louisville women's basketball team, they stay undefeated in ACC play. They trailed at halftime, had a big third quarter, and on the heels of that big third quarter, they knock off the Hurricanes 77-68. U of L now 15-3 overall, 5-0 in the ACC, and 3 of their 5 conference wins are away from home. This team's hitting its stride. Just saying. They got the potential to have a pretty magical March. Time to start paying more attention. Shout out to Jeff Walls and company. They're getting it done. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, all Cards fans celebrate when UK loses. Big Blue Roman's worried about how it makes us look. There's still time to embrace this rivalry. Get on board with the rest of us. What do you say, BBR?
No. I'm like Kentucky hater number 1.
He's throwing L's down back there in the control room.
Big Blue Roman was
Big
like
Blue
the funniest
Roman.
burner Twitter account of all time.
BBK sounds like a mass murderer if it was Big Blue Kelly.
I'd have to get them reported. I'd have to get that account off.
Someone needs to make a burn on this. Photoshopped into UK gear. Trifecta picture, but you're wearing like a blue suit.
That'd be terrible.
Texter says, this is Chris the Plumber says, Mike, every plumber has texted in. Oh God, what's he going to say? Yep. I like keeping you on your toes. It brings me a lot of joy. We disagree on a lot, but we agree on so much more. I enjoy our banter. Go Cards. Love you, Chris. Texter says, it's never brought up how BYU made the Sweet 16 the year after Pope leaving and is top 10 this year. They instantly got better after he left. I've seen some Kentucky fans make mention of it without question. Kevin Young's been the better hire so far. No question about it. Texas says, no, Mark Pope is not even in the same atmosphere as kidney pain. But one major similarity is instead of spirit children, given his Mormon faith, he's definitely a celestial children kind of coach. And I guarantee there's something behind that and him not getting recruits. That and also stop having your wife talk to the players. Yeah, but he takes the players to go pet horses at Cleveland. Who wouldn't want that to be their college experience? He's like, you like this? I can get you a horse to pet anytime you want. I mean, some coaches, they bring him in, they show him the girls, they let him go out with the players and have a good time. Mark Pope's like, would you like to know how to bet a trifecta?
You want to know? You want Sparkle? Or you want Buttercup?
You want ride the horse if you'd like.
It's like, is this the Derby? No, it's better. It's the Kroger distaff for maiden fillies 3 years and younger. It's a cash prize of $125,000. You want to pet that horse right there?
Lamar Lewis is like, I'm still got to visit Indiana. He just rips the saddle off and throws it on the ground.
Okay, fine. No horse petting, I guess. I'm taking the brush back. That's Mark Pope. That's why things aren't working. Texas says, insane night of hoops last night. I love the good old UK hate watch. I could not believe how long it took the ESPN announcers to notice LeBaron Philon was out of the Alabama-Vandy game. This was something I meant to bring up when you were talking about. They had no idea what was going on. Like, this is the All-American. There's no mention of him not being on the floor. There's no mention of him obviously cramping. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He says multiple timeouts. It was trending on Twitter, and no mention of Philon from the booth. Then they say, oh, he's back on the bench. Wait, that's not him. What's going on at ESPN? Totally dropping the ball. I know we're all resigned to watch a lot of ESPN college basketball because they have so many games on their family of networks. It is crazy when you watch like FS1 or you watch the games that are on Peacock or NBC. The product is so much better than the ESPN coverage of college basketball. It's incredible how much money they have and how poor the product is on a nightly basis. But we got to watch. There's no other way to do it.
Same way in the NBA.
Is it really?
I think it's worse.
Well, I mean, yeah, I used to love watching TNT coverage way more than ESPN coverage.
Oh, you think the discrepancy is worse in the NBA, Matt?
Like, I think the ESPN broadcast in the NBA is 10 times worse.
Oh,
like
yeah.
than it is compared to college basketball.
It's abysmal.
Did you see there's going to be a thing, I think, with some smart TVs coming up where you can like you can control the level of the crowd noise?
I saw that.
So, I mean, if you want to drown out the announcers and like just hear the crowd, which I think is a good idea and probably long overdue, there are probably people that would enjoy like that feel. One of my biggest issues with ESPN's coverage this year, they have the crowd noise turned down so much that every big-time college basketball atmosphere sounds like a freaking board. It's terrible. For the first month of the season, I was like, I mean, our fans just what's the deal with Tennessee fans? No, it was good there to just have the noise.
Yeah, in the middle of the
game does that. But your point is correct.
I can't wait to watch this game through like the lens of a wet can.
What do you say?
The camera, am I crazy?
They've had some weird.
Like, I'll do it on the other cast. And ESPN, it looks like they like favorite
thing that every time I play the home game, the algorithm has me figured out because it always pops on my Twitter. Is somebody they try to hype up the crowd intro video, and there's people just like they don't even know what they're there.
I want to see like somebody wipe the camera. They never
Played camera, and then the second Portal edition so far, and it's that meme of the three like fierce looking dragons and the one that's dorky with the eyes and the tongue out. It's the wide receiver position. We need to get some wide receivers.
I mean, we got what 5 tight ends now. We're gonna have 11 men on the offensive line.
Yeah. Texas, hey Mike, just got out of class, and there's U.S. Marshals and LMPD rounding up a car full of folks on Cardinal Boulevard on campus. One can only hope the law finally caught up with a group of ACC officials. I'd like to know what that actually is about. Texas, the SEC is so bad right now, Kentucky will make it to the tourney. SEC is so overranked and overseeded every year. Outside of Arkansas and Tennessee, I see no good team in the SEC. Alabama and Vandy looked terrible last night, and the rest of the teams are trash. I don't know about that.
Alabama and Vandy did not look great.
Alabama was
You don't think so?
They look like tournament teams, but they don't look like they could go out there and potentially beat anybody.
I'm not fully opposed to that because Alabama last night, at least when LeBaron Philon was out, looked a lot like Louisville / Pat Kelsey basketball.
I can see it. I mean, I think Holloway's really good. I think Whitesell's really good. But, they don't – without the guy who's their All-American, they're going to look a little bit worse. I think Vandy's good. Florida's not been nearly as good as we thought they were going to be. I think Tennessee and Arkansas are both good, and I say this as somebody who watched them kick the hell out of their favorite team. I still don't know if they're, legitimate title contenders. Like who in the SEC do we think could win the national championship?
Nobody.
I don't know if anybody could. There's nobody. If you're doing the thing that college basketball people where they're like, continue. I do this throughout the season. Give me the 8 teams that you feel like you got 8 darts to throw, and you got to throw them at the eventual national champion. Throw those darts. I'm not sure I'm putting anybody from the SEC in that top 8. And if I did pick one, it'd probably still be Bama right now. And they've lost 4 games. I don't know how confident I am in them.
I think Tennessee has the size to go and win some games in March.
They're overly reliant on one guard, though.
But the offense is just, if he gets in foul trouble or he's not hitting shots, everybody's looking around at each other.
He's their only scoring guard. I still, I have this weird thing where I'm like, I'm just waiting for Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee to get good at Florida. Because their front court is so good.
It's not happened with Xavier Lee.
I don't think it is, man.
And Boogie needs that point guard, it seems like, or the ball in his hands fully. One of the two.
They need guys to make shots, and I don't think they have them. Texture says the cost of winning uniform drip versus wins, and it's the Louisville chart. Do we? When we have the best uniforms we have, that's when we play the worst. I've been saying it for years.
The uglier the jersey, the better?
Yes, we wanted sleeved camo jerseys. We won a national title. We went to a Final Four wearing orange uniforms. Let's call them what they were. I hope they give us garbage bags this March.
The infrareds were the best jerseys we ever had.
Everyone says that now. When they came out, everybody hated them.
I forgot what it was, but when we came back and beat Florida in that Elite Eight to go to the national championship.
But we wore white that game.
We did. We
were the higher seed.
But my dad and I got in the car and drove all around Louisville looking for any place that sold either a jersey or a T-shirt.
Someone needs to do that. That's a moneymaker.
We found one, and I sent a picture of it to Roman. That same year, I went to a meetup with Stephen Van Treese and Luke Hancock, and I have a shirt that says Infrared Nation on it. I don't remember where we bought it from, but it was one of the local, Louisville, Kentucky stores.
I'd pay a good $1 for a Peyton Siva infrared jersey shirt right now.
Oh, yeah. That would go crazy.
They need. It's in this era where we're trying to drum up, money, get rich quick schemes to help out NIL. Leaning into the infrareds is an easy way to make that happen. Now we're that perfect age of nostalgia because guys like you and Roman were 11, 12, 13 years old during that run. People my age remember we were fondly we were in our 20s. It was a great time to be alive. The fact of the matter is the jerseys were ugly as hell. they made us look like Syracuse for a year, and we played great.
I loved them. I just loved that they, for 2 seasons, because the sleeve jerseys were kind of out there too. Adidas was like, screw it. We're going to be the most notable team that you know who's playing when they're on the court.
I feel like the same.
You know what happened that year that everyone had the infrared jerseys? We all went to the Sweet 16. Baylor did. It was Cincinnati's best year. Whoever else, all these. Indiana had a good year in 2013. The weird uniforms, all these teams that wore them had great years. I'm telling you, we need trash bags this year. Our jerseys in March have been too nice recently. That's why we can't win. I
feel like the same thing's kind of happened over football over quite some time. When the helmet, jersey, and pants are a different color, we're going to win. If we're wearing all red, all white, all black,
we need a basketball version of the realistic Cardinal.
We do. Well, we tried those murder birds, and we got lost all over. But we haven't tried since then. It was 10 years ago. Let's go. Ole Miss, give us trash bag uniforms. Texas, of course, of all the recent transfer players that committed, Mike would only be skeptical of the punter. Most skeptical. Not only. Most. I hold my punters to in high regard. It's a high bar to clear. I'm a Mason King guy. Josh Appleby guy. Texas, as disappointed as I've been with Louisville the last couple of games, it just made last night that much sweeter watching Missouri get it done. Did you hear Matt Jones say that Kentucky has 6 or 8 guys who will make more than Ellie De La Cruz will make this year? What a joke. Well, that's the rare Kentucky burn that makes me feel worse as a Reds fan. So I don't know how I feel about that. It's like
the Reds are so broke.
The Reds are paying Ellie De La Cruz less money than Kentucky's paying Brandon Garrison. Like, doesn't exactly make me feel great about the state of the Cincinnati Reds. It's like he can hit a ball 800 feet. Yeah, but Brandon Garrison can shove a dude and miss a layup. Doesn't seem fair. Doesn't seem fair at all. Texter says, I'm bumping this. Nothing against the church. Oh, terrifying way to start a text on a live radio show. But I don't think the LDS way of Pope is working at a program that doesn't embrace the LDS way like his other two stops. Like, I do think that there's something significant to this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he coached at Utah Valley and BYU as a Mormon. Like, that sort of, like they are used to that personality. They are used to somebody, like, they're Mormons out there.
I like word salad.
There's nothing really to compare it to at Louisville because we have a very diverse community here, which I love. But yeah, like when you do the whole like I'm a golden retriever, every day's a happy day thing at BYU, that's what they want to hear because they're all the same way. And I know that I'm typecasting, but like I have no Mormon people. They are, the personalities are very similar. At Kentucky, it's different. Like, you cannot have that same type of demeanor, that same type of mentality and have it work. Like, I absolutely think that there's something to this. The LDS culture, the LDS way is so unique compared to the types of religious followings that we have in this state. I don't.
But does it impact your ability to win basketball games?
It impacts your ability to, I think, connect with the types of players that they want to bring into Kentucky. And also to,
I'm thinking it was like how he's handling losses. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it impacts his relationship with the fan base, but the biggest thing that impacts your relationship with the fan base is the win-loss record. If he wins games, it doesn't matter. I don't think this dude can relate to anybody that he needs to relate to be successful at a place like UK.
He's never lived a life anywhere near theirs.
Texas says, bleep UK, bleep Mark Pope, bleep Will Stein, bleep Barnhart, and bleep the color blue. That's the one text we get from that guy every now and then. Texas says, Billy G was at least on the bottle. Mark Pope is just sober and ass. My favorite tweet after the Kentucky game last night. Sober and ass, make it into a t-shirt. Texter says, my wife loves Hamilton, was dying at your tweets last night. Those were, I mean, I love that I can retweet them, but that was my initial take on the situation back when they first was that John Calipari's like the king from Hamilton. Like, what comes next? And then when they found out that it was Mark Pope, he reacts the same way that the king did when it was John Adams replacing George Washington. It's like, this ain't going to work. They're going to rip each other into pieces. Yep. Texas, I had the exact same interaction with my wife as you, Mike. I actually switched what we were watching to the Kentucky game at the end and pulled out my phone to record the final moments and caught the absolute brick by Lowe on video in live time. I just knew it was going to be a disaster. Hate watching Kentucky. Hasn't been this fun in a long time.
The way they lost it, too. I mean, they literally threw it away.
I mean, my phone, like, I'm watching the last two possessions, and I've got friends that are behind watching the game, and it's just like, LOL, like, oh my God, I can't believe, out of a timeout. I'm like,
the first turnover was just like a great defensive play by Missouri. They really pressured, Otega Owe and forced a turnover. That's great. The second one, I mean, one dude's back cutting. You're passing the ball to the corner where nobody's standing at.
Yeah, it's terrible. Texas Hexler here. I agree with an earlier text. Roman knows ball better than most, and I think it's directly related to him following the NBA so closely. Pro ball, contrary to local feelings, is a better brand of basketball on both sides of the ball than the NCAA. He gets it. Keep it up, Romy Bean.
Nice way of calling me a nerd there, Hexler.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with being a basketball nerd.
Just kidding. Thank you. I appreciate that. I probably spent a little too much time watching hoops, but in return, it's taught me a lot.
I hate doing the NBA versus college thing. Like, I don't think anybody who prefers college basketball thinks that the brand of basketball is better. It's just so different. Like, it's
you're comparing grown men to children.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is like, hey, anybody who said like the Kentucky team in 2015 could beat the Sixers was ridiculous.
Crazy.
Like, nobody thinks that the talent level in college is different. I like it because, one, I like having all the different teams, all the different areas of the country, but it's more about the contrasting styles. That's sort of, and I think it's a lot of, we have a team here that we all grew up following for and rooting. if I had grown up from day one with an NBA team here, I'm not going to act like I wouldn't be born
10
in
times
San
as big an
Antonio
NBA
fan. Yeah, exactly.
Ben Perry's
he's
coming
Spurs
back.
Is he?
He just tweeted just now. L1C4 coming back. Proud to get a chance to finish where I started.
That's cool.
Does the staff know?
Jody Demling just reposted
I'm
it.
just joking. No, it's good. I was a big Ben Perry fan. I don't think that he did that much at UCLA this year, but he helps. We need some linebacker. We need some bodies at linebacker. He played a big role for us at that star position, the card position or whatever. He'll help. I'm good with that. Welcome back. Texture says, Mike, see the link to the story above. Is this about Kenny Payne? The story is woman accused of trying to steal steaks and urinating on floor at a public store. If we had more time, I would dive into the story. We don't. She looks very high in this picture. She's out of her mind. I would hope you'd have to be not sober to steal steaks and pee on the floor at Publix. Texture says, too much is adding up for me to think that the texter that has the friend that wanted to punch Mike was hardly Gilmore. Halfway through the season, he knew he'd be a card and thus got over his beef. Honestly, the original texter could be the big dog himself. The dog doesn't want to fight me. I haven't communicated with the dog, but we follow each other on social media now. We're fine. We're on good. We're in good shape.
As long as you're not Nick Roush, you're okay.
That's right. That's right. Although I do think he genuinely likes Roush. Texas, whoever texted in about Fru's body language has never met a German. Notoriously unfunny and unemotional people. Texture says, Tayon redeemed himself against Miami with the chase down that prevented a TD. That was a big play. Tayon had a good year. I mean, we need him back at cornerback, to be quite frank. Texas, my wife got $1 in the mail for filling out a survey that ended up sending us Nielsen radio forms for a week to detail what we listen to every day. I did list your show every day. We were supposed to get $10 for completing the form. My wife now thinks she's going to quit her job and just take surveys. The problem is we don't get Nielsen books here at the station. And we are technically, despite doing the show very much from Louisville, Kentucky, we are technically a Southern Indiana station. So if we were competing, we would be competing with other stations in the Jeffersonville, New Albany, Southern Indiana area. So, but we have no idea because we don't pay for ratings books here. It's a great mystery. It also gives us the opportunity to say we're the most listened to radio show in the whole state of Indiana and Kentucky. Or you can say nobody listens, and we can't prove you wrong otherwise. So, yeah. Texas above text was sent after post-driver clarity on the Cherokee Golf Course 7th hole. Said, I think that people are way overreacting to a loss against an elite team without our most important player. All of the major issues were related to not having Michael to initiate in the second half, in my opinion. I like that you sent this after playing 7 at Cherokee. 7 is what's that? It's like the uphill, the par 4 that you can see from the road, where it's like it's very short. I mean, it makes no sense.
Very uphill.
But once you finish it, once you made that climb, I guess you have it's like a runner's high. You get that clarity, and you're like, you know what? I'm not mad about the Duke loss anymore. I'm going to text Mike, let him know. I like that you also presumably aren't listening to the show and just felt that you could send that in the middle of a round of golf. Or you're listening and playing golf, which is even more impressive. Texas, Fru is the man. First-time texter. This could be Sananda. His serious demeanor might be related to him being German. We've all agreed Germans don't show emotions. There it is. Texas, do you want anyone to listen with the X link? Can't click the play button. Thanks for the scrolling text. I can't control the technology. I'm sorry. I can't stress enough how much this isn't my fault when things go wrong technologically. Texas hashtag Greg out. Is the Greg out movement still happening?
Yep. Got a comment on the YouTube chat saying the same thing.
Saying Greg out? Okay. Texture says, send Zion to San Antonio. Big old women down there. Get him a special wank room with a treadmill. Shout out to the Charles Barkley. There it is. Texture says the Charles Barkley reputation. We were doing the nightly routine. Congrats on the sex, Mike. That's not what I meant by the nightly routine. Get your head out of the gutter. I wish. Texas says, Tyler Shuck had a good foot. We talked about this. We don't have time to get to all these. I didn't realize we had so many texts today that we weren't going to be able to get to. Real quickly, tonight, college hoops. God, there's no real big game. Santa Clara, Gonzaga could be kind of fun. We're going to pick an NBA. You're not staying up late to watch Santa Clara?
No.
NBA, Cavs, T-Wolves, 8 o'clock from the Target Center in Minneapolis. T-Wolves 2.5-point favorites. Roman, who wins?
2.5 doesn't sound right. Sounds like somebody's out for them.
The Pacers are 6-31.
I didn't look.
We're getting Cam Boozer.
Give me the Wolves.
Roman, who you got?
I got the Wolves.
I mean, Matt, who you got?
I'm taking the Wolves.
Give me the Cavs. Why not? Straight up. Who cares? Ticket Punchers with Roman Kelly are up next. We're back tomorrow to wrap up the week at 2:30. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigerators. Mechanical 503. Go Cards.
Hey, New Albany, Jeff Gahan. It's another